What up, what up, what up? Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio, live from the Real Talk Studios. First half brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC. Our certified public accountant, make them yours, gibsonmayer.com. We got Greggy here today. Again.
What's up, boys?
Told you it wouldn't be that long until we got you back.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, Chrome is sick. He's out sick today.
Sissy.
He's been sick for the past week or so or something like that. So best wishes to him. Get well soon, Chrome. But we, as always, we got Brodo, the bro, on the ones and twos. What's up, man?
Hello, guys. How are you?
I'm good. I am very, very good. Excited. We got a jam-packed show today. A lot to talk about, obviously, with the trade deadline. But first, our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports is, which currently injured player would help the Eagles the most upon their return? Darren Sproles, Mike Wallace, Timmy Jernigan, Sidney Jones, or do you have another name? I'm not even sure who else is eligible to return other than those guys. But if you had another name that could help Mac, I haven't heard anything about Mac. But that's a poll question. Let us know. But before we dive into that, with the trade deadline passing, we need to dive into that first. The big news from Philly, Detroit, and orchestrated by none other than our own Howie Hero is the Eagles have traded a third-round pick in the draft, in this year's draft, for none other than Golden Tate. So, just shoot it out there. Your quick reactions to the trade. Do you like it? Do you love it? What are the repercussions? Just go, Greggy.
I like it. I like it because Golden Tate. I can't not say Golden Tate. Golden Tate catches the ball. Most importantly, I think I saw he's 7th overall in the NFL in catches over the last 3 years, and 12th in receiving yards. So when you're 7th overall in catches, you catch the ball, and that's something that has plagued our wide receiver core in the past. Not so much currently, but so much in the past. The only thing that worries me a bit is just his exact fit. He's not an exact. He's not a superstar burner. He does play on the outside from times, but does that mean now he's going to take the top off the defense? Does that mean now Golden's on the outside and Nelly's back on the inside where he thrived last year? I like the weapon. I'm not saying I don't like the move. I think anything. He instantly comes in as our second best wide receiver from the wide receiver core, and third best pass catcher behind Ertz and Jeffrey. So I'm not like hating on the deal.
Okay,
it's just fit wise now. Who's on the outside? Who's on the inside? Who's running slot? Who's taking the top off the defense? Because that was the allure of, the thought of Devontae Parker or a Deshaun Jackson type. Take the top, or Emmanuel Sanders. Take the top off the defense, spread the defense out, really get some big plays back into this offense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Golden can't do that, because what I also like about him is he breaks tackles. But who's going to be that outside guy now to take the top off?
I think what people need to realize, because I've been seeing comments and concerns about that same stuff that you're asking, and my assessment of in terms of the fit, and we'll get to if we think the actual trade and what we gave up was worth it, but in terms of the actual fit, this is how it's going to be, and I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to work out. Aguilar and Tate, even though they're both historically known as slot receivers, especially more so Tate, and he's always in discussion of one of the best slot receivers in the whole league, along with Doug Baldwin and Larry Fitzgerald. He's up there. When you talk about slot receivers, you have to mention him. But the thing is, he can play on the outside, and the same thing with Aguilar. People here, they say way too many times, they get the misconception that Aguilar can't play on the outside because of his struggles when he was there his first 2 years of the season, and understandably so. But what people don't realize is that it's not so much that he can't play on the outside. It's just that playing the slot is where his strengths are mostly emphasized and where he can be used best. But he has had reps constantly last year and this year on the outside where he can beat man coverage. The thing differentiates outside, playing on the outside in the slot, you have the ability to have what we call a two-way go from the release point as a wide receiver. You are dictating which side you're going to break your route off from. On the outside, not so much. On the outside, you're limited. Therefore, you need more physical tools in order to create separation. Aguilar has those tools. He gets separation on the outside. It's just that we use him primarily in the slot because he is our most explosive receiver. The thing that makes this make sense, getting Tate, is the fact that with Tate now, you realize so far this season, Aguilar has been his depth of targets in terms of pass catches. They've gotten significantly down. Now, is that due to the fact that we don't have as much of a big running back lead back anymore with Ajayi out? Maybe, but his target depth of receptions has gone significantly down. He's not attacking. He's not being used in the intermediate and deep parts of the field as much as last year anymore because they want to use package plays and gadget plays with him. You see him constantly on those jet sweeps. Yep. You see him constantly catch the wide receiver screens. They use him a lot in that sense. So his ability to go deep is limited because he's being used in that way. Now with Tate here, you put him there and you give him those short to intermediate routes. You have him be that guy now. Now that frees up Aguilar to be that deep threat because he is still explosive. So you now have Aguilar working more so intermediate to deep routes. And then it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter because people are so hung up on who's going to be slot, who's going to be outside. It doesn't really matter where they line up. They're going to be moving and motioning constantly. You'll see Alshon Jeffrey lined up in the slot, and some points. The alignment doesn't matter. It's the route concepts that they are deployed with that matters. And I think I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to use Tate. Tate's going to now take over that short to intermediate role, and then Aguilar will take over the intermediate to deep role, a deep threat role. And I think that's why it works so well is because now not only do you have their deep threat, but you improve your yak ability with this passing offense, which is something that has been lacking severely this season. We need yards after catch, and so Tate's that guy. Yep. So that's why I think it's great.
Well, it's funny how you bring up yards after catch because ever since 2016, Golden Tate statistically has been rated the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Correct.
After the catch.
Yep.
So that's perfect. That's perfect for us. There's a couple main reasons why I love this move, to be honest. And we'll talk about, like you said, what we had to give up. Is that really a good move? All that stuff. But when you just talk about the player in Golden Tate filling into this offense, I understand how everyone's been pointing fingers at the defense. Justifiably so, especially giving up late fourth quarter leads. That's completely justified. I agree 100%. But when people compare this defense and offense to last year, people are missing something drastic, to be honest. Through the first 8 weeks, we're giving up the same amount of points as we did last year through the first 8 games. On the offensive side, we're scoring 5 less points than we did through the first 8 games last year. Mm-hmm. That's what we haven't been blown out when we've lost. We've lost one-possession games.
Yeah.
Very close games.
Yeah.
We talked about it. I know people were talking about it when we were struggling to really put that game away on Sunday. We have to score more than 17 points to win football games. In this league now, the way the refs are when it talks about, the penalties and the way this league is structured, it's built for these offenses to score a lot of points. It's not like 10, 15 years ago and even going further back where 14 to 17 points are going to get the job done. Yeah. It's not. Mm-hmm. And it's inexcusable when you talk about the weapons you had on this offense. When you add Golden Tate going, with exactly what you guys said, it opens up the offense. It takes pressure off of Aguilar, Alshon, especially the tight ends. It's another option for Wentz. It puts more points on the board where that, number one, alleviates pressure for your quarterback, 2, alleviates pressure for your defense because you're going to be on the field more, you're going to be scoring points more, and you have more of a cushion for your defense. And to be honest, trust me, I wish they would have gotten somebody for the defense. I don't think anyone didn't want them to do that.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I don't think one move, as good even if it was Patrick Peterson, I don't think that would have solved the entire defensive problem because it's only one guy. Now, the one guy is very good, but it doesn't solve the entire thing.
I get what you're saying, and I agree for the most part. What I will counter a little bit with is that something I kind of realized, and I forget who it was that said it that made me like, okay, that's a good point, is that in today's league, you are absolutely right. You have to outscore opponents. It's about offense and everything. The two most important stats or aspects of a football game in today's game are turnovers/takeaways and explosive plays. If you dictate those two stats, you will win football games.
Mhm.
The Eagles are ranked to the bottom in both of them.
We've been on the opposite side of them.
Yeah. So we're not taking away the ball. We're not taking the ball away on defense. That's a big discrepancy too when you're talking about compared from last year to this year, the lack of takeaways, and then we're not hitting explosive plays. So realizing that, in my mind, I was like, all right, so then what does this team need? The team needs a playmaker on either side of the ball or on both sides of the ball. Whether it be you get a playmaker on offense like we just did in Golden Tate, or if we had gotten a playmaker on defense like Patrick Peterson to create turnovers, that would have been good too. So I think that, I posted on this on the group page, I think sometime last week. I don't think it would have mattered. I got to the point where I was like, there is no biggest need anymore. It's whether it's running back, wide receiver, or defensive back, you need any of those three to help improve your team.
Yeah.
I don't think you can quantify properly how much each, whether one was more important. I think anything you can do to either score more points and produce more explosive plays for your offense or create more turnovers and make more plays on the defensive end are what can help this team the most. So I do agree. Getting Golden Tate, very impactful. Very, very impactful. But I don't want to completely say that it was more of a need. I think that regardless of what you do, as long as you got a playmaker on either side of the ball, the Eagles won out. And I think Howie did a great job identifying Golden Tate and going up and grab him.
Yeah, I mean, of the wide receivers dealt, that I think it was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was just him and Demarius. Right?
Yeah.
And then if you want to count Amari last week,
Or Amari, that's right, Amari Cooper.
I still would have.
But for the value,
yeah.
I do think the Texans, made an impact for their team. Especially
Yes.
losing Will Fuller.
Yes.
And you get a 7th round pick with it.
Yep.
For a 4th. I think the value was spot on with Golden. If you want a good player, you got to give up. You got to give up something.
Well,
you know
what's big, real quick about that Demaryius Thomas deal. This is now going to solve the question over the last handful of years of, has Demaryius Thomas's kind of downfall been because of himself or the quarterback play?
Kind of like the debate everyone has with Des Bryant.
Yes, correct.
Currently, right now.
Even more so, though. I think Des really is done. But not done, but he's lost.
Well, if he's done, it's by his
multiple
own
steps.
choice. He's
Right.
at home
He's
tweeting.
at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're spot on there.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, Greg, with Will Fuller being out, it's really good because it's not like you're asking Demaryius Thomas to be your number one. No, you just need him to be on the opposite side of
You just
DeAndre
need-
Hopkins.
Yeah, to take a guy away from DeAndre.
It's a decoy.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, God.
So maybe he's double teamed and not triple teamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was a great
I mean,
move.
he'll still come down with a catch.
Oh, he's so
It's
good.
unbelievable.
Couple people over on the tube checking in. If you're over on the tube, guys, let us know what you're thinking of the trade as well. Let's see. We have Bryce Blackwell saying Tate was a good pickup. Two Gun Tommy, what's going on, Two Gun? He says Alshon Nelly on the outside with Tate in the slot could be a dangerous corp. Absolutely. Let's see. Zill Jones says Tate is going to have the offense flowing again. Yeah, absolutely. And then let's see. David Roska just letting us all know that his Rams got Dante Fowler this week, and they're going to go 9-0.
Yes.
They just keep.
That was a big pickup. Now they gave up stuff for it, but
Yeah.
again, to get a player, you got to give up something.
Well, they're showing once again that even if they're
But
undefeated,
in reality, did they really give up a lot?
No,
because
Gave up what, a 4th and a 5th 2 years from now?
which
Yeah.
if they get to the Super Bowl and
It
win,
don't matter.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
give up a second.
That's
Yeah.
just. I mean, you talk about the rich getting richer, and you can now, especially currently right now with our front 4, or as we like to call it, our front 8.
not even 8 anymore.
I don't think there's a comparison right now between the two defensive lines, just because of play. You know what I mean? I know on Wednesday and Sunday we talked on the struggles of not necessarily the struggles of Fletcher Cox, but the effectiveness of Fletcher Cox. Has he really been that $100 million guy? And then Barnett's hurt. Where's Chris Long been this year? Where's Brandon Graham been a lot this year?
Yeah.
Timmy Jernigan, who's part of the poll question, has been hurt. Haloti Nada, while is doing great doing Royal Farms commercials, isn't really providing much value
Just
on
an
the field.
extreme depth guy. That's all he is.
You end up getting some flash plays from a bunch of guys that you never even heard their name.
Now, here's the interesting. Well, first off, Chris8835 says, not our biggest need, but giving our franchise quarterback another weapon is never a bad thing.
Sure.
And then Nelly Ruth says Tate can play running back. Is that true?
For some,
yeah. I mean,
occasionally, just like kind of how
like
Tyreek
Aguilar.
Hill does. Or
I was going to say like
they'll give
Aguilar.
right.
Yeah. They'll give him some snaps, here and there. He's not a full-time back. Like, you can give the ball 10 times. He's not going to, well, even though I think he could run better than what we have now.
Well, and to that point, I with what happened out of Green Bay, I would have made a phone call to see what the package deal would have taken for those two.
For which one?
I said for the two of them, for both of them, in Green Bay,
for
Montgomery and Clinton Dix.
Well, you know what's funny?
Because let's face it, I know we said here on Sunday, the Washington defense is very good already, and they got another playmaker.
They did.
They got another guy that helps that defense.
Yeah.
And he can play. I know he's predominantly a safety now, but he can play corner if needed. I would have called and see what a package deal would have cost. Because Ty Montgomery comes in, isn't head and shoulders above our running back group, but I think adds another dimension.
Yeah,
adds another weapon out of there.
Especially when our offense, or our running backs have recent history of not staying healthy.
Yeah.
It's an extreme depth move in an emergency case scenario where a guy can actually play.
You'd have to make sure he actually kneels at the end zone on kickoffs, though. Just saying.
Well, he wouldn't be in the kickoffs.
Yeah.
We got all the savior Darren Sproles running kickoffs.
No, he does punts. Kickoffs is still probably going to be Carter. Thank God.
Well,
I honestly think and we'll get into it later, but when Sproles come back, I don't think he should be the returner.
Well, I'm also thinking, so Wallace and Hollins are expected to be back sometime shortly.
Is Wallace a legit option to come back? I thought he would.
Yeah, I think he's more certain to come back than Hollins is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think out of the three, out of Hollins, Jernigan, and Wallace is almost the most likely to come back.
Well, I heard Eskin report today that Jernigan could be back next week.
Bryce Blackwell said the same thing. I was hearing second week in November because he's practicing, but he's not in shape.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, listen, if he's back at all this season, that's fantastic because that frees up room for Fletcher.
Fletcher Cox.
And then this defense gets back rolling. He's the key.
That's what you hope.
Yeah,
right? That's what you hope.
Going
right?
back to last year, absolutely.
Yeah. He's got
and that's my answer to the poll question.
Me too.
Is Timmy Jernigan.
Yep.
Because all the other guys we have seen at some point this year. Right? Mike Wallace didn't wow me.
No.
You know what I mean? Darren Sproles.
Nick Foles was in, to be
fair.
Yeah,
I mean.
Go ahead.
But,
go ahead.
No, you're right, though. But, and all right, maybe I'll ease off a little bit on Mike Wallace because you're right. If you don't have a quarterback that can get him the ball, even though he's the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
Well, we see that with
if you don't have a guy to get him the ball, then
it doesn't matter.
It don't matter.
Well, we see that real quick with Eli and Odell.
Yeah.
Like Odell's a great player, but you can't get him the ball, so he doesn't look. He looks
ball.
pedestrian.
Yeah, it's like
he's open all day.
How many slants does Odell have to catch to get his 170 yards? You know what I mean? Although, if there's one guy that can catch the slant and take it to the house on any given play,
it's Odell.
Yeah.
It's true.
But we know what we're getting from Sproles. And again, I really, I'm not hating on the deadline deal, and I wanted more.
Of course,
because I still don't know that this still puts them over the top in the East. I think it puts them back. I think it puts them back in the conversation. It just we talked about it on Sunday. You're running out of games now to make up.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wanted another weapon, especially if the weapon came at the running back position. I would have been so much more happier, just because I'm not putting my eggs in a 36-year-old basket coming back off another nagging type of injury in a hamstring.
I hear. Let's get to. I'll do my answer to the poll question, but let's get to some comments. On Facebook, we got Frank Vespi saying, "Hey yo, sorry to bother you at work." Sydney, definitely. Chris S. Wright says, 8 yards after catch. Wow, let's go flying. Mataraki says, Timmy Jernigan for sure.
Yep.
Need that help on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
Rob Hill says Jones. Dion Brown, what's up, fellas?
Hey,
What up, Dion?
Great trade today, but to answer the poll question, I'm going with Darren Sproles, assuming he's 100% ready to go. We don't know how long Mills will be out or Sidney Jones.
Well, Sidney should be back.
I think
Sidney's the one that should be back this
yeah,
week.
he should
Yep.
be back
We
in next game, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen a diagnosis on Jalen. Has anybody?
No.
That's
You-
been
but-
kinda,
Is that worrisome or is
I
think
that
so.
encouraging?
No disrespect to Jalen. I really like Rasul Douglas.
I kind of want
You would.
to.
I would.
Yeah,
Why?
you
I
would.
would like
No,
a
I just-
playmaker.
yeah.
I would like a playmaker.
Yeah,
who finally gets
an
on the field.
actual,
to
an
your
actual
point,
ball hawk.
he is the only one that's actually gotten any turnovers.
Whenever,
Yeah,
the, whenever the kid's on the field, he
He
makes
makes plays. Correct. Parker says, I think Sproles really adds another dimension to the offense if he comes back.
Spidey, what up?
Kevin Godwin says, do you think it was a good pickup knowing the other weak areas, secondary running back lines were not helped? I think I kind of addressed that. I said, like, as long as we got a playmaker, it would have been good. But, yes, the other positions were still of need. Like, just because I'm happy about the Tate trade doesn't mean, oh, then we're good at running back. No, like, we still obviously
Yeah.
needed a running back.
Can we make?
I would interesting to see how true those rumors were with Oakland about their tackle.
I heard that, too. Assembly.
Osemele.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved an offensive lineman at any position, whether it's guard or tackle, just because, Lane's out a month.
Yeah.
We saw what V did this year in spurts with Peters, and it's not good.
It's not good.
And we know Peters can't stay on the field right now.
Yeah.
Well,
So, like, you need it, and is Mailata ready? You know what I mean?
No.
But
People slow down.
No,
He's
no,
not
I,
ready.
I understand,
No, I know.
but he's on the active roster. You didn't make a move, so at some point
he's going to be on the
you're-
field.
He's going to be
gonna
playing.
have to be dressing
Yes,
to the point where if something happens,
he will be playing.
he's got to play.
Here's the thing with Vaitai, okay, where I
Awesome.
actually disagree with you. And, like, yeah, on the field, there's no disagreements here. When he's filled in for Peters, he has not been good. No disagreements. But I think the part of Vaitai that people kind of forget, Vaitai sucks when he has to come in the middle of games. He's actually good to very good. And, like, he's not, I mean, compared to Jason Peters, he's not Jason Peters. Nobody's saying that. But when he is going into a game knowing he's going to start, he's taking first-team reps, he gets the job done. Perfect example, the second half of last season.
Yeah, but he wasn't good.
No, he
No,
wasn't
He
but
was
he-
serviceable.
But
He
he's
was
better.
okay.
He did the job, and,
Yes.
and to your
Good
point,
job.
A backup
he did
left
the job.
tackle.
We won the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
I wouldn't use.
Can you really complain about?
I wouldn't
You're
use
right.
good or very good to describe his play, but
But
it was serviceable. It was adequate enough.
But the reason why I say good for a backup left tackle who's replacing Jason Peters, that's good. As long as you are not disastrous, which he has been when he's had to come in middle of games, as long as you're not disastrous as a backup left tackle behind Jason Peters, you're doing a good job. You know what I mean?
No, I guess
He
I get your
didn't
point.
lose us any games. It wasn't like Redskins 2016.
I think I think
Right.
that to your point, I get what you're saying, and it's getting to a point where it is kind of detrimental. Where if Peters is constantly getting hurt in games, and Vaitai has to come in constantly, just with no first team reps and everything, and just fills in, it's not fair to Big V. It's not fair to evaluate him fully. At the same time, I kind of have an issue with people saying, "Oh, yeah." There was one post on the page. Peters should retire. Like, Peters with one leg is still better than anything Big V can be, and And at the same time, all these years Peters have been with us, he's been great. He deserves the benefit of the doubt that at some point it's very possible he will work out of this and be better. Will he ever be the JP we know? No, probably not. But I still will put I will bet money more so on Jason Peters fixing his issues because he is who he is and has been for a long time than putting my money on Big V, who has shown that his ceiling is a capable backup. I'm like people destroy Jason Peters constantly on social media now because he's giving up sacks, which we're not used to. But then they don't realize the other side, and they don't realize that, guys, the grass isn't always greener. You want Peters to retire? Sure. Who the fuck is going to replace him?
Yeah.
Big V? Big V is not the answer. He is a capable, good backup, like you said,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he is not who I want
No.
starting at left tackle for the whole season.
Yeah,
No.
So,
and that's the concerning thing is, you're right. You know, what's our future look like at tackle?
yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
A
what's
draft
our
pick?
future?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you gotta-
draft pick.
And okay, so V's going to play the right side now, right? So when Peters goes out, who comes in to fill in?
I think it was Isaac shifts over.
Oh my God, I'm going
which
to
is
walk out.
bad.
I'm going to walk out
Which
and
is
throw
bad.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
But that's
Just
my
totally
point.
Bad.
Like
yeah.
that's
Which
you
is,
know, it's
that's
either
why you have a good
it's either
point. Yeah.
Mailata or you're right. You're moving Sayamalu out and bringing Wisniewski back in.
at guard. I mean, Wisniewski at guard isn't bad, but switching Isaac out to the left tackle. or
Isaac
any
can't block
tackle,
on the inside, let alone
Isaac-
the outside.
Well, he can run block, but I do as a tackle where
Sayamalu's
you
brutal.
need good kick slide and footwork. No.
Yeah.
Isaac, no, as a tackle, that's trouble.
You worry because, we didn't do anything in this draft outside of Mailata, and that's a project.
It's like that's the last pick in the draft. we
Yeah,
had.
but like we did nothing to shore up the offensive line.
No.
And so now you're going to go into next year, Lane Johnson's a year older. You know what I mean? Coming off a big injury. Jason Kelsey's a year older, and he hasn't actually been lights out this year.
No, he's been hurt too.
Brandon Brooks, while he's been good, hasn't been the same guy.
No.
And then we have that other revolving door at left guard. We're revolving. It's Salamalo, it's Wisniewski. Who there? And then now who's going to replace?
It's
Yeah.
not
the
even
bodyguard.
No,
Like,
I
it's not
hear
even
you.
like we did anything for offensive line in free agency. The
Not
last
even-
time we did
we didn't.
anything for offensive line free agency was Chance
They need
Warmack.
to.
Yeah,
They definitely
And look,
need to
is he even
address,
on the
yeah.
team anymore?
he is. He's eating
No,
up
he
a
is.
lot of money.
Yeah, money.
Oh, God.
So
Somebody wanna trade for
I
him?
think
That was my hope would have been someone calling for Nick.
yeah.
Someone called
Yeah.
for Nick.
Yeah,
I really wanted Jason Lockefour put out a post last
I'm
night.
talking
on-
about someone who's full of shit.
Well, and that's fine. But he was saying like a lot of names that he was heard, and he
Yep.
said for the quarterback position it was Tyrod and Nick.
Yep.
Was the names that he kept hearing. And then I just you look at a guy like Chance, and he's never going to play here. But you hope somebody who is
Desperate.
has worse depth at guard than we do just would have taken somebody for
Yeah.
a change of scenery type of
Yeah.
No,
type
I
of
hear, I hear you. It is offensive line definitely is a concern. We need to obviously
and now we're
address
getting back
that.
into the first round. Now we're gonna I'm not gonna say we're gonna waste a first round pick on an offensive lineman because that's what you have to do. But what are you gonna get at the mid 20s to mid to late 20s if this team is what we think they are?
Yeah, exactly. And especially when in the first round, especially late in the first round, that kind of falls under the category of like, oh, let's get a running back because
Yeah.
we need one.
Because we need a running back too. Because who's coming back for next year?
Well, we need
Not
we have
Sproles.
2-2s.
Not Jay.
Not Jay, not Sproles.
What about Smallwood? Is he
Yeah.
even? He's going to be up for a contract?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone. But then again, I said that months ago, and I was wrong.
But
so who
but
knows?
if you're starting the year with Corey Clement and Josh Adams,
Well, Josh Adams fans, here you go.
Smallwood might be back.
Oh my God.
But you're right. It's just thank God we only give up one pick because now we might need those 10. And lightning in a bottle.
Exactly.
To your point, though, Chucks, with Jason Peters, the only time I agree with people crushing Peters is the fact that he gets 2 to 4 penalties a game. Which he got
yeah,
none.
which-
Which
inexcusable.
he got none of this week, which
Yes,
is
which is
very,
good.
very exciting.
Yeah,
But
that's
but that's-
bad.
That is a complete.
Mental error?
Well, yes, mentor, but that's so unlike Jason Peters. That's a guy being 36, trying to battle through injuries.
He did this-
He
He
you
did the
look
same
back,
thing last year, though.
but he was not on the field last year. He was
For the
hurt.
first 6 games, Greg.
Let's get to
Get some more comments. I know
We
the
got,
fans flying in.
Are they? Good.
Parker says, I think Chuck's hit on a good point. Is Tate a showstopper? Maybe not, but Tate could allow Alshon and Nelson to flourish with routes more suited to them.
Showtime.
I think he's
He
a
is
showstopper.
Showtime.
He is a showstopper. He's one of the better receivers in the league. James Wilder says, I like the trade. Picking up Yak is exciting, even if he isn't a showstopper. Stop. Guys, stop doing he is. He's a great name. That kind of dynamic play can excite the entire team, as well as the points Chuck's made as far as opening up the offense. Deion Brown says, the thing about Tate, he can play inside and outside and make plays, so I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Plus, he's durable and he catches the football and get Yak yards is in which we need instead of just catch and fall. Mike Royal says, meanwhile, Washington defense got better with Clinton Dix. We needed something for defense. I'm okay with Tate, but expected more from Howie.
Yeah, I'm with him. Like I liked the move, and it was just like, and then you heard the rumors about Assembly, and you're like, all right, Howie, let's go. Like, what are we doing next? You know what I mean? Give me a runner, and then you see Ty Montgomery go, and you're like, oh my goodness,
I almost wonder. Well, there's two parts of it. First off, I thought there was a solid chance we were going to get somebody like Garyon Conley or even Landon Collins. And I know Landon Collins is in this division, but the Giants aren't trying to do anything this year. I think they're just trying to acquire as much draft capital as possible.
But he's a cornerstone. He's still
a
cornerstone player.
Yeah, but it depends on the offer, though. Do you know what I mean?
But to your point, because you know what I heard from someone, I forget who it was again. I'm sorry. But they were like, they had inside sources that said someone in the Giants front office was like, there's only one player on the Giants that is untouchable.
Odell.
No.
Saquon.
I know. Relax.
I'm saying it for the people.
So to your point,
Ramen Noodle
you call for Landon Collins to see what the offer could have been. So that's a good point.
And the second thing, like Chuck, you and I talked.
I would give him a 2 for Landon.
Yeah.
Only?
Oh,
well, I'm saying, yeah. I mean,
that would be a starting point.
Yeah,
be a starting point.
I just started with it. Yeah, absolutely.
And the second part,
we didn't take him. We didn't draft him in the first place. I mean, that's our fault.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which I will admit, I didn't want him because I thought he was just an in-the-box safety. I thought he had very bad coverage skills, but he's gotten so much better at that. So I was definitely wrong about that part of his game.
The part of this today that I wonder about, because you and I have talked every Tuesday about how I've been thinking that the Lions were the team to make a deal with. I've been saying Amir Abdullah. I've been saying Marvin Jones. Yeah. I've been even saying LeGarrette Blount.
You didn't know it was Golden Tate.
Well, you know what's funny? Yeah. We talked about this like 4 weeks ago. And somebody in the chat said, oh, what about Golden Tate? I said, I don't think they would part ways with him.
I didn't think so either.
I thought he was too high. That's why I went to Marvin Jones.
No
I'm like,
one did.
That's kind of – I didn't think Detroit would get rid of him because I thought they'd be dumb enough to think he would re-sign next year, which shows they're smart enough to realize he's not going to. And two, I didn't think Howie would go that high with it because he thought, okay, Hollins and Wallace will be back. But I almost wonder – if while they were talking about Golden Tate, if they're like, what if you added like LeGarrette or Amir Abdullah? Like, I wonder if that was part of it because you have to.
Yeah, you got to ask.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because because we talked about it. I said like 3 weeks ago. I said, what about a package deal with Marvin Jones and LeGarrette?
Yeah.
So why not
100%.
try and do a move with – if you're going up to Golden Tate, why not throw LeGarrette in there? Because he's only worth like a 6th or 7th round pick.
Right. Oh, yeah,
because they have Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's very good.
He's very good.
Very good.
A lot better than I expected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. A lot better than I expected.
But, you look back at those Alabama or those Auburn running backs.
Yeah,
they can play.
Yeah.
They can play.
Yeah.
You know who else I would have picked up the phone to is once you saw Ty going to Baltimore, I would have picked up the phone to see what Buck Allen was worth. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously – they kind of soured on him, especially his play, his touches have dropped. I would have seen what you bringing in Ty for a reason. Are you moving him back to the outside to play wide receiver, or is he now a running back?
He's a running back.
He's now a running back, but
he better wear a running back number. For damn it!
I really thought, especially after that Rams fumble. I thought there was a very good chance we were going to get him because he can do both.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God, that's perfect. His value's going to be low. Aaron's pissed off. It's perfect.
Yep. Aaron's done with him.
Yeah, he's like, Mike, get rid of him.
He's out. Chrome chimes in. Hey
Chrome.
fellas.
What up, Sicky?
I'm pumped about the addition of Golden Tate. I'll take a 90-reception, 1,000-yard receiver any day. Mike Royal says we need to be able to make a stop on defense. That is what
True.
costing us games. Chrome says, I don't have any confidence in
Fair.
Sproles whatsoever. Off the list, it's either Jernigan or Sydney. I don't know, Chucks. I like your positivity on JP. I'm not sure why he said I don't know, Chucks.
I guess he disagrees with it. I guess he
He
thinks
disagrees with it, but he likes your positivity.
On JP. He says, but we can't just dismiss the fact that after the major leg injury last year, JP just may not generate the same power as he did prior.
Right.
Tough at his age, but right now JP is the best option, no question. And that's my point, and that was my point in the end. He's not the same JP, but I will.
That is not a foul, by the way.
I will
an
bet on
absolute
JP
BS
over
foul.
over
Sorry.
over Big V. Ray Gonzalez agrees. He says, "Amen, brother. I don't get the Big V over Peter's talk."
He ran into him and lost the
And-
ball. God, I hate Kyle Lowry. Sorry.
Yeah. What I will say is because I didn't answer the poll question, and we're about 40 minutes in, but I do agree with you. My pick is Timmy Jernigan because it's that domino effect.
Yeah.
You get Timmy Jernigan back in there, and if he's any semblance of what he was last year, early in the season before he got hurt, you have a scary defensive tackle duo on the inside. That'll help everyone else on the defensive line. And then you know what that'll do? That'll give less time to the quarterbacks to get rid of the ball. You know what that will do? That'll help the secondary enormously, which is what happened last year. So even though I'm one of the only ones who still does believe that the pressure isn't the problem for the Eagles, I still think what is the problem is the lack of rotation now. With everyone that's been getting hurt, is you have the pass rush not being able to sustain for 4 quarters at a high level like last year. You need that rotation.
Yep.
You need guys fresh. When they're fresh and healthy, this defensive line is getting after it. I'm telling you, Chris Long, Michael Bennett, Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett before he got hurt, they're all getting pressure. But the thing is, now that they have to play more snaps, they tire out way too soon, and we're not used to that. And that's the whole thing. So to me, it's Timmy Jernigan. You need to get him back in there because not only does he free up room for Cox, but he makes more the rotation more of a thing.
I hate that tired excuse. I hate that. You're $100 million man. You should be able to play every snap.
No, I get.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
And
I get it.
And someone
I
like
don't
Michael
disagree
Bennett
with
and
that.
Brandon Graham, you guys are veterans. You should be able to play every damn snap. Like, I hate that tired excuse because any other team doesn't do what we do. Any other team doesn't rotate 7, 8 guys.
But the Vikings,
You know what I mean?
But the Vikings do, and they get tired.
Well, I said every other team, most other teams, okay? So maybe most other teams. So I hate that all, you train, you're a $100 million man, you got nothing to do but train to play every snap. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that tired excuse.
I get your argument, but the thing is, that's what made us so good, though, is that when no matter how much
he's
you
playing
train,
a quarter more snaps than he did last year.
No matter how much you train, you're human. You're going to get tired. You're going to get tired, especially if the defense is going to be on there. Say we're getting a situation
But your offense leads the league in time of possession.
No, I get it.
So how much are you really on
the
field?
I understand, but then what has happened to our defense? We haven't been able to get off the field on 3rd down and 4th down. So now, not only is our offense on the field for a long time, but now our defense is on the field for a long time too. So the defense is not – they're getting into situations where they are facing long, sustaining drives, and the defensive line is going to get tired. I don't care who you are. You're going to get tired. Maybe not like throughout the majority of the game, but if you're talking about the whole game, whole 4 quarters, there's no defensive lineman. I don't care if you're Reggie White. You are not going to be able to play every snap for 4 quarters and be at the same stamina as you were the whole time. And that's my point. We were able to have an unbelievable pass rush, which masked our deficiencies in the secondary because of that fresh rotation.
Yeah, no.
That's what made it effective.
You're absolutely right. But when your offense leads the league in time of possession and it's not close, then what's your excuse now? Because, they're on the field for a couple drives, but they're, it's 45 to 25. So there's a whole 15 minutes where you're literally sitting back there snoozing and resting up.
No, that I get. But then, again, you're getting into the 4th quarter, and then take the Panthers game, okay? The 4th quarter, What happened in the Panthers game? They got one long drive and they scored. Offense went 6 and out, I think, believe after that. 6 and out. So that's a quick drive, punt back. Panthers went down again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Long sustaining drive. Now in the fourth quarter, now the defense is on the field for a long time. And then that's when the rotation helps.
Absolutely.
And that's all I'm talking about.
There's no question.
There is no excuse that if for one, Fletcher Cox also is getting double and triple teamed. So that's another thing. That's why I think Jernigan is the answer, because you need someone to capitalize off that double teams. That's what happened last year. But I'm just saying that even there are still circumstances where the defense hasn't been able to get off the field because the offense is not getting the opposing offenses are converting those third and fourth downs now. They're not. It's not like last year where they weren't. We were able to get off the field on third and long.
YouTube is flying, so I want to run down that real quick.
Yeah.
So Bird Gang chimes in saying, love the pickup. Crafty veteran that has led the league in yards after catch since he's been drafted. Wentz is going to love him. But does this mean Doug is going to abandon the run completely? And he's joking when saying that, but...
Is he? Is he joking?
I don't know. Well, he put in that LOL, so I would have to assume.
We'll see. I mean...
Two Gun Tommy says Antonio Brown and Tate are the only receivers with 90 reception yards. I guess he's saying reception yards.
Receptions.
The last couple years, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bryce Blackwell said Howie said he talked to a lot of teams, but the teams weren't budging. Zill Jones says Mills can take off a couple weeks, Rasul can take this one. Nelly Ruth has a conspiracy theory saying it's a fake injury with Jalen Mills, that it might be a team decision. I'm just going to leave that right there. I'm just going to leave. I think they're joking.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, but people obviously, do
not like Mills?
No. They accused Belichick of doing the same too. So,
okay.
I think there has to be a legit injury.
Two Gun Tommy says, who's better, Cooper or Tate? I'm asking because we gave a third instead of a first. Is that much of a difference? I would take Golden Tate.
I would take Golden Tate.
Well, I mean, I think it depends on your.
It also depends on the situation.
I think it depends on your version of better. Is Golden Tate the better pure receiver? Yes.
More reliable.
But he is also a couple years older, and Amari Cooper is still coming off his rookie contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's still room for Amari Cooper to grow because he's so young.
Yeah.
Put him in a different offense that's not a black hole. Pun intended. You know what I mean? Because you hear the reports of the Cowboys reaching out to Nick Saban to get a little backstory of Amari Cooper. All right, maybe you're going to put him in positions now to succeed rather than just make sure. Is he a number one receiver? Probably not. But can he live up to what Golden Tate has come into his career? There's a possibility. Right now, I'm taking Golden Tate, though.
We're just funny. You say in a spot to succeed, and we're talking about the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Zill Jones answers that question, and he said, Tate, hands down, his numbers don't lie. One of the most productive receivers in the league since he's been drafted. Bird Gang also chimes in on that, saying, not being biased, but Tate over Cooper. 3 1,000-yard seasons, reliable, stays healthy, and catches everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And it's so funny.
He has struggled with Jock this year.
But he is what, 5-6 years older than him?
4, I believe.
So, while they're all right,
yeah,
you gotta leave at least a little bit of a glimpse for the kid to maybe turn it around.
Like you said, it's determined by situation. This team, the Philadelphia Eagles, currently built, we need reliability over flashiness. I understand the big play has not been on this football field for the Eagles this year, but we need more reliability because we know if we don't have reliable go-to guys, why do you think Ertz is so good? Why do you think Alshon's so good? Not because they're flashy, because they're reliable. And because the communication with the quarterback and themselves is so good.
Yeah.
With the Cowboys, on the other hand, reliable is not going to get them in the playoffs. They need flashy offense to, one, take pressure off of their quarterback, who's not very good. 2, they don't have that true number one. We don't need a number one. We have Alshon. We don't even and we have Aguilar, who's not a number one, but he's someone to complement Alshon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So reliability is going to go farther with us especially because we only had to give up a third for it.
No, yeah, you're right.
And the Cowboys had the reliability. It's just not in the right type of receiver.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Cole Beasley's not going to scare anybody. You know what I mean?
Not even him rapping.
What you do have out there is you have the running game.
Yep.
And you do have a guy that will catch the ball in Cole Beasley. But now you needed, or at least they needed, a difference maker. Is that Amari Cooper? That's to be seen.
We'll see.
You know what I mean? That's to be seen.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have ASMR saying, "What's up, boys?
What up?
Going on, ASMR?" We have Kadarius Player says, "I don't know if you guys covered this, but will Tate play on the outside?"
Yeah, I mean,
somewhat.
He's going to be.
Yeah.
He's going to be interchangeable.
Yep.
You know, I think that, and to that point though, I like that about our wide receiver core. You know, probably outside of Jeffrey, because you're going to want that big body on the outside more often than not. But any one of those 3, 4, 5 guys, if you add Ertz into it, can play at any position.
Yeah.
Probably on the line. But real quick, coming in and only learned a couple routes, he's going to have packages until he gets fully up to speed.
Yep.
Which I think the Eagles had a definite advantage going into a
bye week.
Going into a bye.
Yeah.
Two Gun Tommy says, "I'm sorry, but Foles has to go. He's taking up a cap hit. I honestly think Foles only wants to play for Philly or he'll retire."
And that's it. He's going after this year.
Yeah, he's gone. There's no trading him anymore. We lost our window.
But Two Gun, I'm spot. You're spot on, man. And that's why I said I wish somebody would have come calling for a quarterback.
Can you imagine if we took that Browns trade?
Oh my goodness.
We would have 3 second-round picks.
Oh.
Let me ask you this, guys. Now
what
knowing
a dumpster fire the Browns are. What a dumpster fire
I know.
the city of Cleveland is.
That's my new Huddle.
The city of
they
Cleveland is.
fired 3 coaches in the course of like 12
hours. And then, of course, the NBA feels bad for him, gives him the 2022 All-Star game.
Of course.
In the NBA. Because who wants to go to Cleveland? Yeah.
People didn't even want to go to Cleveland when LeBron was there.
No.
What was I going to say? Oh, question for you guys and the people at home. Now knowing how the beginning of this season has played out, you know, especially when he talks about, Wentz didn't come back until week 3. Do you regret not trading Foles?
Yeah,
I said
it.
I said it from Jump Street. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it.
Because if you're 4-4 at this point, and you kept
Foles
him,
didn't save you.
If you're 6-2, then okay. You know what I mean? Then okay, Nick, you did something for us. You're 4-4.
And he didn't play.
The next 8 games, you're battling for your life every game.
Nick Foles, the way I see it is, it's not just the record that we're at now. I look at those games in Tampa and Atlanta, and it's hard for me to believe that Nate Sudfeld, 1, would have played that much worse, and 2, it's hard for me to believe that he couldn't have won one of those games.
Right.
So it's just
they were being cautious. They were being cautious. I understand.
And I will say hindsight's 2020.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I will also say that when I heard that news, I was like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me! That is a high pick."
Hindsight is 2020, but I was the guy that was moving Nick regardless of how long it took Carson to come back.
You were. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're never gonna get that value for him.
To me, it was about what kind of pick we would get, and a 35th overall pick was. I would have taken that all day. Like, that is high for a backup quarterback. So, yeah.
Question for you guys. Zill Jones says, how is JP the best option when we won a Super Bowl without him?
Because the whole line was playing at a high level where it masked Big V.
Yes.
When you have your line 4 out of 5 guys playing at a stellar level and playing lights out.
4 out of 5 went to the Pro Bowl.
Then Big V is obviously going to look better than he is. But if you look at the Super Bowl game, and this is what I keep telling people, if you actually watch the Super Bowl game, Big V wasn't playing lights out. He was actually only okay. He gave up pressures.
Yeah.
Like, he was getting beat. It's just that Nick Foles got the ball out quickly enough where it wasn't, you wouldn't have to say his name where it's like, oh, Big V gave us back. No. Big V lost several reps. And that's the thing. People think that because the offensive line did a great job that Big V automatically played great too. No, that's not the case.
It further goes back to my point, which I've mentioned a couple for the last couple of weeks. Everything we touched last year worked.
Yeah.
It just proves how magical that season was because everything we touched worked.
Because
the team is essentially the same team this year, and look at the struggles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because, a play here, a play there, a fourth down call here versus we lose that game. We lose Atlanta if Doug doesn't pull that trick play out again.
Yeah. It's
in Atlanta.
Opening night.
Opening night.
I thought you were talking about last.
No. But I'm saying we lose Atlanta opening night.
Oh yeah.
If Doug doesn't realize, all right, we're struggling here. I got to mix something up.
Yeah.
And we still almost lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? When you brought up Atlanta, I was going to bring up something last year. And first off, you're spot on. I said last week, I look back on that season, I just say, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, because it was so unreal. It feels like it was a dream.
Real quick, I got crushed last year for saying this team was 7-9. But this is exactly the team that I saw. This is a team this year.
I think.
You know what I mean? Where everything's a struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lose those close games where you obviously won last year. You're blowing out you're blowing out everybody. You know what I mean?
What did you have on that this year, by the way?
I think I put them 10-6, 11-5.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a I think it also goes to it emphasizes the point that building confidence and momentum as the season goes on goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't win a Super Bowl. It's that saying, you can't win a Super Bowl within the first few weeks. But you can definitely lose it.
Yeah.
If you don't come out swinging, you're at a serious disadvantage. And so, look at the Rams. They are a beatable team, but the thing is, they're clicking and have so much confidence that they're doing what we did last year. They are pulling out these close wins. And they're doing the little things because they have that confidence. We weren't making these mental mistakes, these horrible plays where we're or shooting ourselves in the foot, because last year, early on, we struggled, but then we made one play. We had the Jake Elliott game against the Giants in Week 3, which boosted our confidence. We but we had a convincing win on against the Chargers. Blew out the Cardinals the next week. It was a series of events in the beginning of the season that got things rolling, got our confidence up.
Yep.
And that set the tone for the rest of the year. And that's why when Wentz went down, Nick Foles was able to step in. And even though he struggled, for the first few games, that's why we still won, because the rest of the team it was playing at such a high level.
Absolutely.
The craziest play, not that we forgot about, but we just haven't touched on yet, when you brought up Atlanta, going back to that Atlanta first-round playoff game, the play in which it's beyond comprehension as to how that one crazy play really affected the rest of the postseason.
The
knee catch.
The interception that should have been at the end of the half.
It flew off the knee and went 10 yards back. It literally
Smith.
landed into Torrey Smith's hands.
First ball he caught all year.
If that's an interception, we do not win that game.
You're absolutely right.
Because that resulted in a pass to Alshon, similar to the Jake Elliott.
Yep.
You put it in as a field goal.
Yep.
That's a separation.
It was a six, maybe 10-point swing.
Yes, because if you go in and you just take that field goal out, instead of 15-10, it's 12-10. So when they're on the 1 yard line in our red zone,
they don't need a touchdown.
They beat us by a point.
Yeah.
Therefore, we do not win that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is the biggest play of the
same
season.
Same thing. Go next game. Go Vikings. Case Keenum doesn't throw that pick six.
Who knows what happened?
Nick Foles wasn't lighting it up until that pick six, and his butthole was able to loosen up a little bit. And that's sometimes that's what it took.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's where the magic of last year happens.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You get a pick six to Chris Long. Or was it Chris Long, right?
Chris Long that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Long
barely touches his hand.
Chris Long can't sniff a play this year, but gets a pick six in probably the biggest game of the year.
The first appearance he's made was this past week.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Chris Long, hey, you made the trip.
Dion, before we close out, we got Dion Brown saying, but the crazy thing is, we will get almost every player not sent to IR back in Jernigan, Hollins, Sproles, and maybe even Wall, especially during the mid to late November into December. And that's a good thing. Shit even. Maragos could return. The injury cards could fall our way quickly within the next 4 to 5 games coming.
Again, think about that, right?
I forgot
So Maragos gets hurt about the same time Peters does.
Yeah.
Peters is back. Maragos isn't. 2 months later, Wentz gets hurt, and Wentz is back almost before both of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Chris. I
crazy.
forgot about Maragos.
You know what I mean?
I'm so
Like,
I forgot
but
about
that,
that.
again, like what happened last year was, it just
Yeah.
it's crazy because, like I said, I got hammered, but like it was just so magical, and you're right. You just say thank you because who knows when it's going to happen.
I watched
again.
I've watched the 40-minute special on YouTube, like the behind the scenes thing. I'm just watching. I'm like, oh, so this actually did happen. You know what I mean? Like I'm like I look at every season from now on. I'm like, it doesn't really get better, does it? It only gets worse from here, doesn't it?
It gets worse.
Because like even
oh my God.
in another year when we win a Super Bowl, like the next time we do, I'm like, I don't think it's going to be as special.
No.
It never will.
First time.
My
is
life
always-
will just continue to get worse from here.
Yep. And then a couple more comments I want to touch on, or just one more. Brian Martin says, not hating on the Tate pickup, but would you have rather had Clinton Dix for a fourth or Tate for a third?
Yes, both. Like that's where I was at. Like go get me both.
Yeah.
Or go get me all three of them. Like package Montgomery with them.
If you had to choose one, though, that's actually
If I had
really
to choose
good
one,
question.
I'd take Clinton.
If I had to choose one, I'd go Tate.
I go Tate because this offense needs to score points.
Yeah.
I think. Listen, this last thing I'll say before we close out on Facebook. I think once Jernigan's back, it's only one position, but I think it'll open up. It'll be a chain reaction for everything else.
Fair enough.
And I think if you're just talking about at the respective positions, I think Tate is a better wide receiver than Tate, and then Clinton Dix is a safety.
Sure.
So I take.
Yeah,
I just take the better
Don't
player.
disagree there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. If I have my choice, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with a guy that's a proven safety versus like an Avonte Maddox who's trying to be there.
Oh, yeah,
Not
no,
saying
no,
he's
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Not
No.
saying he hasn't played well in his spots.
Well, 5'9",
Oh, well, I
170.
agree.
He's
Let's- let me-
5'9", 170.
I'm just saying.
He's not a clear safety.
Let me just
He's
say
not.
the Jaguars game might have saved his spot because before then, no, he really wasn't playing well.
Yeah. Well, but playing well is all relative when you make the game saving play
Again,
and,
I'll
and
say
potentially a season saving play.
I said this in my article real quick before we go. You're talking about a guy playing safety who played only outside corner in college and was groomed this offseason to be the slot corner. He's playing safety over your third-round corner who has, in Rasul Douglas, who has safety experience in college. Why? Why?
Rasul's got something going on. Like he's in the doghouse for some reason.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
He asked
it's
for
like
more
why?
playing time.
he's got the opposite photos than Marvin Lewis. You know what I mean? Like Marvin Lewis has got the incriminating photos
Of
like,
everybody.
Yeah,
Everyone.
Rasul's got the opposite. Like
Yeah.
Rasul's just like they're
Obviously,
like, dude,
that has to
you
be the
did it
case.
yourself, man.
Because it doesn't make sense.
And the last thing I'll say, before not us, but before because there's now like a little Avonte Maddox fan club
Oh,
on
sure.
Twitter. He will always be a liability in the red zone because of his size.
Because of his
A
size.
la the Corey Davis play.
Yeah.
The Corey Davis
Oh,
play.
which
against
was what play call did we call? We talked about.
Oh,
last
it was a
week.
blitz.
It was a blitz.
How
It was
about
a
that?
cover zero blitz. And on that note, Greggy, thanks again.
I'll stick around.
You stick around?
Yeah, stick
Sweet. All right, he's sticking around.
He's getting used to
He's
it
got
now.
no more PJs to go to, so he's,
Yeah, I'm
he's
already-
all-
I'm
he's
already-
all wigged out.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, as always, come back for the second half. We are switching over to the YouTube. The link for it is at the bottom or at the top, wherever.
It's in the comments and
It's
it's
the
in the
comment
description
section,
right
yeah.
below the poll question.
Yep, it's in the description. So jump over to YouTube in a few minutes. We won't be long. Our breaks are usually short. So give us like a 5 to 10 minutes, not even, and we will be back. We have a lot to talk about still. We got the recap. We'll talk some more trade. We'll go around the league, recap Week 8, talk about more trades that happened at the trade deadline, and finish off with No Huddle. Our first half of the show, presented by GibsonMayer.com or Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. Poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Guys, a few minutes. Please come right back. Greg's coming back. Brodo's coming back. We're coming back. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back. Second half of Birds of a Feather on ATD Radio. We're doing late nights. Well, not really.
Oh, smooth it out.
Live from the Real Talk Studios
Slow
again.
jams.
Second half brought to you by StreamSmart.com. Our poll question brought to you
Couple
by
skate.
Scanzano Sports. Which currently injured player would help the Eagles the most upon their return? Darren Sproles, Mike Wallace, Timmy Jernigan, Sidney Jones. So,
We're going to slow it down here for a second.
slow it down. Get
All
the mood
couples,
right.
please, to the skating rink. All couples. Couple skate only.
You don't even want me to.
You don't even know what I'm talking about first. of
No,
all,
I
probably.
do.
Are
I
you
do.
sure?
I
Are
do.
you sure?
I think I do. I think I googled it. once.
Do you
really
know what a
good at
roller skating rink
I'm
is?
really
Oh, I've been to a roller skating rink.
I'm really aging myself right here with this.
We went there on the 8th grade trip about 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Wait, they still exist?
They do.
They're scarce. They're scarce.
No, you know what that song reminds me of? And I'm going to, again, severely date myself. It reminds me of the old Nickelodeon cartoon Hey Arnold.
Oh,
it's not that old.
Gerald's theme.
All right, well.
Gerald's
I didn't want to
theme
be
song.
like, oh, my favorite, and be like, oh, I thought that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
that's
got
what it
you.
reminds
Yeah,
me
yeah,
of.
yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear it. It
I'm
reminds
glad
me
we
of,
can relate.
there was a program at on BET where what was it, Night Moods or something like that. They would play slow R&B. It was like after
Oh.
midnight or something. I forget what it's called. That's what that reminds me of. But anyways,
There's a lot of other channels I'm watching after midnight than BET.
I'm not familiar with that program.
Oh, geez. All right. Thanks, guys. I guess I'm the only one listening to R&B over here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, we'll continue with trade talk, the trade deadline, us getting Golden Tate. If you have any other comments or input, definitely jumping in the YouTube chat. We will be reading them off
Yeah.
as we go.
These guys are flying. Good Lord.
Yeah,
I
they're
see,
active.
yeah, I
Good
see.
job,
It's
YouTube.
awesome.
Yeah.
Asking for each other's addresses. What,
Oh,
what
wow.
are we doing here?
Yeah, we having a
Are we-
party. Are we invited?
Wow.
We'll bring
That
the,
was the
we'll
right
bring the
theme
sl-
song.
We'll bring the slow jams.
I think there's some
Couplesmingle.com?
magic happening over here. That's awesome.
A2dmingle.com.
A2T matchmaker.
Live from the YouTube chat.
Chris, get on that.
Yeah. Patent that. Somebody patent that.
Oh my God. But anyways, do you want to dive into the question you had with like?
Oh
the
yeah.
schedule
All
thing?
right. So to provide transparency for the people at home, I mentioned to Chucks and Greg during the break, and if you guys tuned in last Wednesday, you'll recognize this. We are going to run through the remaining schedule for both the Eagles and the Redskins. Obviously, the two leading candidates to win this division. Obviously, if you want, we can dabble in the Cowboys because I know you said there's.
No, let's leave
Just-
it
okay.
at Eagles Redskins.
All right. And we're basically just going to go and just project how we see the remaining, what is it, 8 games?
8 games.
8 games for
Um,
us. Yeah.
For the
Turning
Eagles,
out
the
for
Eagles.
both of these teams. So let me pull up
For the Redskins, I think they have
Redskins.
9 games left because they had their bye
Yes.
already. So they have
So
9
they'll
games left.
yes, correct. Okay. So let's start with the Redskins, okay? So they are currently at 5-2. They're going to be at home against the Atlanta Falcons, who is coming off of a bye. Is that a
Loss.
win or a loss? I think that's a
Loss.
loss,
And they're only 1.5 point favorites.
which means they're not really a favorite because they're at home.
What are they, 5-2 right now, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
I'm
I have them at
loss.
5-3.
I'm going to
after
say
this.
win. Because if they're the team that they think they are, and they obviously do, and Atlanta just did not do it for me this year. I mean, you let the Giants almost come back and beat you. You let a bad Giants team come back and beat you
Well,
and ruin the damn spread, first of all.
It's not like,
Like-
it's not like the Redskins blew the doors off of the Giants either, though.
No.
They haven't looked. They're at 5-2, but it's not really an impressive 5-2.
The reason why, and I agree, the Falcons are a dumpster fire, mainly because of the injuries on the offensive side of the on the defensive side of the ball, and obviously with their running back being out. But the Falcons still have extreme explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball,
Yes.
which the Redskins, I don't care if they have Adrian Peterson. He's doing good, that's fine, but you're not going to be able to compete with that type of
They're not.
explosiveness if you're the Redskins.
They're not.
And
With
they're-
Alex Smith?
No,
No.
but I
They're
think
not.
the Redskins' defense is a lot better than maybe the naked eye is
It's
giving
good.
credit for.
It's good.
I mean,
The run defense is
that
stellar.
Front four,
Yeah.
That front four is great. And then again, you add Clinton Dix, and all right, first week 2 days after a trade deadline. What impact is he going to have? But their secondary was already decent. You know, all right, I'll go win. You guys go loss.
Okay. So Chucks and I have them at 5-3 after this coming week. They then go down to Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers.
Win.
Tampa Bay?
Yep.
It depends who's at quarterback for Tampa Bay.
Well,
it's the second game of
Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic, so he's going to stink. Because, you know, he's one game good.
Yeah, but he was good against us in the second game.
Yeah, everyone's good against us.
Well, that doesn't matter. You said second
Not
game.
Blake Bortles. Well, no, he actually was.
I'm going to say if it's in Tampa.
Disregard.
If it's in Tampa, I'm going Tampa Bay.
I'm going Tampa Bay.
Their defense is just Swiss cheese.
All right, we'll agree to disagree, Greg.
Absolutely. We will do.
Well, the Redskins' offense doesn't inspire me either. I mean, they have Adrian Peterson in the power running game, and that is it.
So I have so you and I both have them at 5-4. You have them at 7-2.
7-2.
Oh yeah, this is not good. This is not good, Greg. This is not looking good.
Well, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why my concern is, I still, as much as I like the Golden Tate move, I don't know if it necessarily moves the needle.
No, trust me, you're not insane by saying that.
Because
no.
I just, then maybe I give them more credit than obviously you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's fine. But it's, they're already 5-2, so they're already up at us. Even at 5-4, they're still a game better than us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing as well. The reason why I think, yes, the Falcons and the Buccaneers aren't good teams at all. Alex Smith, historically, what has he done? He starts off really good and then just starts to go down.
And he hasn't even been really good this year.
Yeah,
he hasn't
it's been
been.
Peterson.
So
Peterson's the offense.
Yeah.
Can we just all say that?
Peterson is the offense. And here's the other thing. A 35-year-old running back, I don't care if you're Adrian Peterson, I'm still going to be concerned about you being able to play at a high level for the whole 16 games. Yeah, it's great. You're fresh off of the season, and you're playing at a high level through the first 8 games. You're doing great. But you're 35 years old. I don't care if you're Adrian Peterson. I don't care if you're Barry Sanders. 35-year-old running back, logic only tells me that you're going to start breaking down a bit once the weather gets bad and once the heavy toll of a whole offseason or a whole season, which you have been carrying the load, a heavy workload, that's going to weigh on you. So
Maybe.
I'm still questioning about Peterson's long-term ability.
Coming from the team putting our hopes and dreams in a 36-year-old running back coming back off a hamstring injury.
Is Darren Sproles carrying the load or turning the ball 20 times? No.
I bet you a lot of people think they want him to.
Well, I guarantee Chucks.
Anyone that says that is out of their mind.
Well,
There's no way Darren Sproles is carrying the ball 20 times.
Greg and I aren't saying we agree with it, but I'm just telling you, a majority of the people today in the last week, when talking about the running back position, they lead off with 2 things. Either, oh, no, we're good because we have Sproles, or, oh, no, we're good because we have Adams. That's legitimately half the fan base right now.
I've heard the Adams thing, and it's preposterous.
Yeah. I mean,
they're going to make me hate Adams, just like they made me hate Pumphrey, because people
made me hate
because
Foles.
people.
Yeah, like the fan base is making us do these things.
Yeah.
It's funny because you say like they make us hate, but in my opinion, us having these opinions about certain players, with me, Clement, you with Adams, you with Foles, or whatnot, it's us being realistic. It's not us being hate. Like I will never say
that's
I hate
yellow,
Clement.
not Kool-Aid.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Like I don't hate all the bad stuff I say about Clement, and you say about Foles, you say about Adams so far. It's not to say we hate them.
No.
Like we're not rooting against them every Sunday. At least I don't think I am.
You are.
But you are.
I was a hater of Pumphrey. No, I was a hater of Pumphrey. I will say
But
that.
at the same time, there's a difference between.
Does it even exist?
It did. It did. For
It
Chucks will
apparently
tell
did.
you.
It
Chucks will
did.
tell you every week.
I felt the wrath. I'm like, geez, Christ.
Every time someone.
You can't even be objective.
The second week, I think it was
Darren Sproles 2.0.
the second. I think it was the
That
first
was a
show I
stupid
was
comparison, by the
producing
way.
with Chucks, and he brought up. He was like, "Oh, well, what about Pumphrey for the future?" I'm like, "No, don't ever say his name." And it became a
funny.
thing.
It was funny because I didn't even say that Pumphrey would be like part of the rotation. I was just like, we were naming who was on the roster for running backs. I was like, all right, we have this guy, this guy, this guy. We have Smallwood, and we have Pumphrey.
I'm like, no.
And he was like, no. I'm like, I'm just saying he's on the team. I'm not saying
He's under contract. Like he's obligated to be said.
Unfortunately, now he is because he's back on the practice
squad.
Anyway, let's get back to the
Yeah,
Skins.
so we're at 5-4 for the Skins. Yeah.
And Greg is at 7-2. Texans come to Washington. I think that's a loss.
I would agree that's a loss.
For the Redskins, that's a loss.
5-5, Chucks.
with the
Let's
way-
do this.
That's what I'm saying.
At the Cowboys.
It's at the Cowboys. Did they play each other already or not yet?
They played in Washington.
And who won
Washington
that?
beat 'em.
Washington beat them. I'm going to say Washington wins.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm agreed.
So 6-5 for you and I, Chucks.
Yes.
You were 8-3. Then Redskins at Eagles. Monday Night Football.
At Eagles?
That's a win.
Eagles win.
That's a win for us.
So 6-6.
Oh, here we go.
6-6, and we have a game now on them.
Giants at Redskins. That's a win for them.
Win.
Yeah, win.
7-6.
7-6.
At the Jaguars.
I say that's a loss.
Here's the thing: are the Jaguars going to pack it in by then?
Yeah.
I don't know if you talk.
What's that, week 16?
That's in Jacksonville.
15.
15?
15.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine the Jaguars being any type of a threat at that time of the year.
I think regardless if they pack it in or not, Blake Bortles is not unless Leonard Fournette comes back in and is great.
He's supposed to be back soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's back soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah,
going off of the
I'm
fact
going
that
win.
I'm going loss for the Redskins.
I'm gonna go win for the Redskins.
So that leaves what?
8-6 for me. That's 7-7
7-7
for you.
me.
Redskins
Yeah,
8-3.
no. I had the loss to the Texans.
You're at 9.
I'm at 9-4.
Oh God.
Okay.
Right.
I'm at 7-7. You're at 9-4.
Yeah.
2 more games. Redskins at the Titans.
I'd say that's a
Wow,
win.
I really have the Redskins going 12-5.
Oh God.
But you're missing a game.
I think they win. I think they win.
Yeah. I say they win there. So 8-7 for me.
And then the Eagles against the Redskins
Loss.
They
in
win at
Washington.
home.
8-8.
They win at home.
I have them at 9-7.
No, I have us winning.
So I'm at 10-6 then, or 11-5. I just with the Eagles games so close together, it's so hard to go 2-0 from the Eagles standpoint.
Yes.
Because they're so close together.
Especially
If
for the
it
game
was,
plan.
if we played, week 4, and then the last game of the year, I can play this. I can play this sweep better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
like what's going to become of Dallas too.
Yep.
It's going to be so tough because we play them so close together to get the sweep that you need.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's just where, do I think the Eagles
Understandable.
are a better team? Yeah, probably. But just coming where the schedules are coming from and where, the teams are and just it's going to be so tough to get a sweep from both of them.
Yeah. So
coming up.
That's the Redskins. So your target is 8-8. Mine's 9-7. Yours is Greg 11-5.
I think I'm 10-6.
10-6.
They
Okay.
could be 9-7. That's my ballpark for them. 8-8, 9-7.
Okay. So now let's jump over to the Eagles. So it's about the Eagles. Can they beat that number? Obviously, Cowboys come here in a week.
Win.
That's a win.
If they don't win, just pack it in right there.
Agreed.
So 5-4.
Just
5-4.
But yes, win because that's your season.
Yep.
Coming off a bye,
You
that's
have
your
to beat,
season.
You have to beat the Cowboys.
Prime time, national TV.
You have to beat the Cowboys.
You have to beat them.
At the Saints. Loss. 5-5.
5-5.
Giants at Eagles.
Win.
That's a win. 6-5.
6-5.
Redskins come here.
Win.
That's a win.
That was the Monday night game, right?
Yep. 7-5.
Yeah.
7-5.
So yep.
Eagles go to Dallas. That's a win for me.
That's a win for me.
It's 8-5 for both of us. Greg.
He says a
Wait,
loss.
Eagles go to Dallas. That's going to be the loss.
So you have them at 7-6.
Yes.
So 8-5 for us, 7-6 for you,
Okay.
Greg. Go to LA.
Loss.
Loss. So we are at
Well, I'm at 8 wins so far.
8-6.
Is it 8-6? Yeah,
And
I
you
know,
have them
I'm
at
counting the
7-7.
wins.
Texans come here. That's a
Win.
win.
I have it as a
That's
win.
going to be my win of the big 3.
9-6, and then Redskins in Washington.
So backtrack
That's
it to
loss.
this game now. So in my scenario, I don't know about yours, but in my scenario, we are 9-6 going into that last game, and I had the Redskins at 8 and
8-7.
7.
Yeah.
So it does to me, in my estimation, it does come down to that
Same with
with
me.
the way things are. Because if the Redskins win that, the division record, we'd have to go back and look at the division record, but the tiebreaker for a division is division record, right? It's not
Well,
head-to-head.
No,
it'll be
it's-
the same because
It's a split.
it'll be the same. I think because I think you had You had the Redskins sweeping the Giants, splitting against the
So it would
Eagles,
be the same.
It would be head-to-head.
Head to head.
Yeah.
So we'd have to win that.
So you would have to win the tiebreaker because you guys would have the same record. I have the Eagles going into Washington Week 17 at 9-6. So the Eagles can win the
9-6.
division outright, which I think they will. So
That's
somehow,
10
this is
that's 10-6.
crazy. I think they somehow get to 10-6. But Greg, as you and I talked about, the big three against the Rams, against the Saints. And against the Texans, realistically, you're going to come out 1-2, which means you have to be perfect in division, which I think they can do.
And normally, I would probably agree with you if it wasn't for the timing of those division games.
True,
Again,
and that's justified.
with them being so close. Traditionally, especially the Cowboys and Redskins, you play them so tough anyway, regardless of how good or bad any one team is. I mean, didn't the Eagles split with them last year, the Cowboys? And
No.
Oh well, they pulled out a.
The
split
garbage
the week
game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
garbage
Okay,
game.
but so they
Yeah.
get split. But I'm saying, well, maybe it was 2 years ago where they battled hard in. But regardless, the division games are always tough.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
close.
Generally
There's no
getting a
shoe-in
split.
game
There's no
in the division.
shoe-in.
No.
Add in that they're 2-3 weeks apart, both of them. I think it just sets up, with just the way the season has been going.
Yeah.
It just sets up a split.
That's fair. That's fair. But you know what's funny? Because of that, so say, for example, I have them both finishing 9-7, which if we lose Week 17, they both go 9-7, we still win. We still get the division. So it's almost like in my scenario, there's a one-game cushion somehow, which is beyond insanity when you look right now at the beginning of the season and think, oh, my God, somehow we would have a one-game cushion possibly against a team who is now 5-2.
So you have them going 5-6-2, 5-3 to end the year.
6-2. I have them going 6-2.
So you have them being perfect in division.
Yes.
And you are 5-3.
Yeah.
3 losses. I say so. 9-7. We finish at. I can see a 10-win season, but I'm going to give myself room for maybe one other loss. So I'm going to say 3 losses. So 5-3 at the end of the year.
Let's just remember this too, and I know it's crazy to think about, but as much as we say, oh, Rams lost, Saints lost. First off, Saints completely agree with that. I don't think there's any shot in hell we win that game, but that's beside the point. Imagine if we can end up winning one of those games. What that would do.
That would do, yeah.
But you know the ebb and flow of this year.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
The ebb and flow of this year is we lose Sunday night coming out of the bye, but we go out and we break up the undefeated record out in L.A.
Or we do something like we beat the Saints, but we lose the Cowboys.
Or
like we lose to like the Redskins
like
at
that.
home.
Or you
yes.
get swept by the Cowboys.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
that's very.
You're right.
Yeah.
While we could go 2-1 against those big three, it's just the ebb and flow of this year
Great point.
with this team right now.
You can't rely on
I haven't seen enough of last year yet to sit there and say they're going to go on a 6-2 run this last 8 games.
That's a great point.
You're completely. That's a completely valid. I can see. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, there's no way we are not finishing below 9 wins." I'm not going to say that. We could definitely finish out with only 1 or 2 more wins the rest of the year. The way things with health and the way we've been biting ourselves in the foot, I could see it. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I just going off of the talent level of this team and the fact that I think that these losses are due to those mistakes, self-inflicted mistakes that I think are correctable. I think the way they won ugly against Jacksonville is kind of like, okay, sigh of relief. They're taking it as a sigh of relief. We're at 4-4. Let's reset. Let's get healthy, and let's go on a run. That's how I think the mindset of the team is. So that's why I still think 9-7 is.
I would hope that would be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you're right, but I would hope that would be the mindset. Like, that's what any mindset going into the bye.
And the biggest thing too, and it seems obvious at this point, but yeah, I mean, this season through the first half screams 8-8, obviously, but I think just because that's only a 2-game separation, or arguably a 1-game separation of winning this division, that's why I think this season's far from over. Yeah. And like someone was saying on Twitter, like, oh, well, if we don't get back to a Super Bowl, what's the point? What's the true bragging right of this season? I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's to tell not only the teams in your division, but the fan bases, hey, Dallas Cowboys, hey, Washington Redskins, hey, New York Giants, we still won this division while we were broken, while our quarterback had no preseason, no training camp, and we still won. We still got to the playoffs when through 5 weeks we looked dead. Mm-hmm. We looked dead. Mm-hmm. So your goal as a fan, your goal as a player to get into next year still playing. You don't want to end this season by like, okay, let's wrap it up. No, you want to be playing in January.
Yeah.
That's your goal. Because as we've seen, especially with that 9-7 Giants team that went on to the Super Bowl, just get in.
Right.
Because, and this is the thing people were forgetting, if you get into the playoffs, that means you're going on a 5-3, 6-2 run, which means you're playing great football.
Well. Yeah.
And it's not about, who has
the best records.
It's about who's playing the best.
The best at the end of the season. Yep, that's how it always is. That's how the Steelers, too, or were they a wild card team that also won the Super Bowl that 1 year?
I believe so.
Yeah. So
I look at the Rams, for example, and you like break them down. All right, quarterbacks even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Quarterbacks are even.
No, I'd go Wentz definitely over Goff.
But the play right now is even.
Yes.
Like if you're ranking them,
I'll give you that. I beg to differ.
Efficiency rate, it's even.
I'll go ahead and just give you that, even though I beg to differ. But go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you don't agree with it?
I don't agree.
You don't agree that Howie was willing to take Goff at 2?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
I think Wentz was the guy.
The part I agree with.
Okay.
The part I agree with is right now, if you talk about efficiency, I can make an argument, and this is not going to be popular. And yes, it's because of weapons, it's because of overall health. I get it. I can make an argument that at this moment, Goff is more efficient than Wentz is. But that's mostly because of the weapons. But
this is my point.
Yes.
Getting into this is your quarterbacks are even.
Yes.
Okay. Whether you agree or not, they're even right now.
Mm-hmm.
The pass catchers, you can argue are even, right? Because they don't have a true number one, and our second guy is a tight end.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think if you go Cooks, because they don't have a tight end.
They don't have
right?
a tight end.
So you go Cooks, Woods, Kupp. I think you go Jeffrey, Ertz, Aguilar, or now Tate.
Yeah, Tate.
Aguilar.
Yeah.
They equal.
Yeah.
Right? Where's the difference? The MVP of the year right now.
Todd Gurley.
That monster in the back.
Yeah.
So
and the O-line.
Well, right, but you're sitting there and you sit there and you go, and this is where I wanted a running back in the deadline. Like I love Tate. Like I like it. You know what I mean? But like I wanted more.
Yep.
Get me that difference maker back there because those weapons on the outside open up holes for Gurley, but Gurley also opens up holes to make Goff a more efficient passer in the conversation of as equal to Wentz. And you're right, bias-wise, I'm going to take 11 all day. But I will give Howie credit because Goff is spinning it right now that if he truly was okay taking either at 2 when he traded up, I can't really hate on him that because Jared's spinning the ball right now.
Well, tell Greg what you and I discuss every week about what I label as the running back position.
Oh.
It's the
ultimate complementary piece.
To a quarterback.
Yeah.
It will not win you a season. It will not win you a Super Bowl, a la what you see with Saquon in New York. He's great. He's doing fantastic things, but they're 1-7 right now.
You need a quarterback.
I completely agree with you. Golden Tate, while I love the pick, I love the trade, he's not going to change your offense. Yep. A running back changes your offense.
Yes.
So I completely agree with you. That's why running back was at the top of my list.
And I'm not saying Montgomery was that guy.
No.
But
No,
but you know what I mean? Like, go out and get me a guy.
Well,
go get me a guy.
Even if you got Blunt, he changes your offense.
Go out and get me David Johnson. You know what I mean? Go make that happen.
Was he available, though?
Well,
no.
That's the thing.
But you're right. Was he available? Who knows?
A David Johnson-like player.
Everyone's available for a first-round pick. starting wise. You know what I mean?
I would
Yeah.
for David Johnson. You kidding me? I would have given up a first-round pick and another one. I'm. Go ahead. Call me.
I mean,
Someone
2
still
first
isn't-
or just another pick?
2 first. I would have
I
given
mean,
up 2 first.
I mean, if that happened, I wouldn't be
An
like,
elite-
"Oh,
I would-
Howie,
yeah.
you screwed up."
An elite running back. Sorry, an elite running back like that. As elite, I would have given. But that's.
Well,
you know,
typically, to your
Here and
point,
there.
you can make the argument that in these trades where it's a player for a bunch of stuff, usually the team who got the player wins in
Yes.
the long term instead of a bunch of stuff.
Also, going off the fact that those first-round picks would have been late-round picks.
Right.
yeah,
So
no, that's
Yeah.
true.
So but you look at the point was in that little comparison was we just needed a difference maker back there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't disagree.
And we still don't have it. And going into next year, we still don't have it.
Well, you know what? And this is going to be huge. And the jury's not out on this. Now, I think it's unlikely. But the real question that the organization has to ask themselves, and clearly they have, and that's why they didn't go out and get anybody, they think the answer to this question is yes. Is the combination of Sproles, Smallwood, Clement, and Adams efficient, not compared to Gurley because that's not comparable, but efficient enough to compare to an above-average running back core? That's because if we can get to that point where it doesn't matter who's running the ball, but it matters how many yards we're putting up, that's what's going to keep this season alive and make the blow of not getting a running back, A, in the draft, B, in the offseason, C, in the trade deadline.
Right.
It's gonna lessen the blow of that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, look at Washington. And yeah, you're right. Adrian Peterson's been playing out his mind, 35 years old. But he's been basically the bell cow right now.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
He has.
You look at Minnesota, Dalvin Cook goes down. It's been the Latavius Murray show. They're not spelling these guys. Yeah, you get a little Chris Thompson here and there. And it works because obviously we did it last year with the rotation. You know what I mean? And so obviously it works. And you're right. You go back into history, especially the last 5 years. What stud running back has Tom Brady ever had?
But that's also Tom Brady.
You know what I mean? But the big running backs don't win Super Bowls, but maybe that trend is starting to turn.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you think of like Sam Hinkie, knew the bigs would come back into play in the NBA. So stockpile enough bigs, and one of them is going to turn out.
Here's the thing, Greg. You are speaking what I've been talking about for months, and I'm glad you said it so that people don't turn a deaf ear to me just talking about more running backs. But it's the goddamn truth. Is the fact that people are so used to devaluing running backs nowadays, and for good reason. But the thing is, what is the trend out of all these running backs that are your elite running backs, say for maybe one or two, is that they're 5'11", 6-foot running backs, 230 pounds, who can not only run but can catch the ball out of the backfield. Am I right? And then the only two that I'd say are the exceptions are Kareem Hunt, who is still as special as any of them, and Alvin Kamara, but he still has Mark Ingram. So those are your only two exceptions out of all those running backs. That is the trend. Okay, you're talking about absolute playmakers who make a difference in your backfield, who can do everything. And the thing is, the reason why it was trending the opposite way years ago is because you didn't have running backs like that.
Right.
You had your specialists who were early down backs, first and second down, and then you had your scat back / change of pace back, who was a small, tiny one who caught passes on third down. But when you have these running backs now who are both of them combined into one, that makes it all more special. Because look at what Todd Gurley's doing. People want to talk about all the time how, you can find a running back anywhere. Oh, you don't need a running back to win. They don't make a difference. Don't worry about getting a running back. You can't tell me that Todd Gurley isn't making a difference and that you wouldn't want Todd Gurley on your team. You can't tell me that having a Saquon Barkley on your team wouldn't make a difference for you. Like what you said, it's the ultimate complementary piece to an offense, right?
Yeah, correct.
So you need a quarterback. 100% agree. But once you have a quarterback in place, they can be a solid cornerback, like a Matt Ryan. You could have like a what's another good comparison? Like say, I don't know, maybe a Kirk Cousins. Maybe that's not a good comparison. But my point is, you don't even need an elite quarterback.
Right.
If you have a solid enough quarterback, and you have an elite running back, and then everything else falls into place, you can definitely win a Super Bowl like that. What team won a Super Bowl recently with an offense centered around a running back? The Seattle Seahawks. With Russell Wilson in his, was it rookie year or his second year? Second year, won the Super Bowl off of a run-based offense where Marshawn Lynch was a focal point and a good defense.
Well,
so
they would have won two if they ran it.
One and two if they used them. So I just, for months, since the offseason, I've been preaching this. I don't want to hear about the running back position not being important anymore, or that how it's devalued. You don't need one, because now the Eagles Nation is feeling the wrath of what happens when you don't have talent at the running back position. One, it puts so much pressure on Wentz, where you don't have a running game to ground and pound and wear defenses down. And two, you don't have that versatile weapon to not only be a threat on the ground, but pass protect. Because who's pass protecting? Wendell Smallwood? No. And then be a good weapon out of the backfield to do screens and wheel routes. So I don't want to hear it anymore. I really don't, because now we get a taste of what it's like not to have a running back.
Chucks, there's a team that is in the NFL that fits the mold of what you described, of having an above-average quarterback with an elite running back and is extremely successful. It's the LA Chargers. Mm-hmm. That's literally what they are. Phillip Rivers is not elite, but he's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin Gordon's elite.
Yes.
Their offense is elite because of the combination of an above-average quarterback.
Yeah, with the Williams brothers.
Yeah.
With the Williams triplets.
And then Keenan
Allen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're right.
That fits the mold.
You have Keenan Allen as your number one, and then a bunch of guys.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. You have a quarterback that can get them the ball.
Yep.
But you also have a running back that the defense has to respect, has to keep honest. Balance to me, especially with this Eagles team, has nothing to do with time of possession.
Yeah.
No.
But to your point, it's what demolishes a team's psyche from a defensive standpoint. You know what I mean? Getting up there, run blocking, run it down your face when you need to, and when they know you need to. You know what I mean? And that's where I want. Do I need 50-50? No.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Don't.
But there's so much more from the psychological side of pounding out a first down than hitting a couple 3-yard slants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or doing a bubble screen.
100.
While they both keep the clock running. And, yes, that time of possession is still there. To your point, though, now Wentz has got to be perfect on that throw, because what if they drop that? What if Jordan Matthews drops the ball? What if Nelson Aguilar drops that ball?
Yep.
Now the clock stops, whereas if you had that guy in the backfield, or at least even if you don't have that guy, if you have that offense to where you have whoever's in the game at that point able to do that, I just think it adds just a different dimension and a little nasty to you. You know what I mean?
Dion touches on a couple things. There's a couple comments in here. Dion says the fan base, a lot of us do go overboard, but when we see a player that appears to have talent, we want to see more of them. I believe Josh Adams will have a future in this league. Yeah, I mean, he very well could have a future, but my only point, Dion, is because he had a good game last Sunday, which, it was a good game. Very good game, actually. You can't look at him as a savior, and I'm not saying Dion's saying that, because he's not, but a bulk of the fan base
other people are
lead the conversation of, hey, we don't need to trade for a running back because we have Adams.
Yeah.
That sentence, that phrase, does not work with me.
It's asinine.
Because he's and listen, we talked about it weeks ago, Chucks. Because Corey Clement, who was undrafted, had so much success, especially late in the season and going into the Super Bowl, people look at that mode of, oh, okay, maybe he's another Corey Clement, where he was undrafted. Oh, my God, we're going to go get him. Oh, he's going to be great for us. Guys, that's so rare. That's so rare. It's great that we had one pan out for us, But do you realize the chance, and this could very well happen, I'm not shutting the door on it. This man was our 5th running back at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
Justifiably so. He deserved to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That job for the number 3 and 4 spot was wide open. Or I should say the 4 spot. It was wide open. Smallwood got it because of his familiarity with the offense.
Yeah.
That's why he won that job.
Yep.
So Adams is a very good piece, I think, going forward for this offense. Absolutely. But don't look at him as a guy who's going to score 3 touchdowns and be the savior and take pressure off of Wentz on his own. If he does, that's great, and I'll be proven wrong. But I'm not expecting of him of him anytime soon.
It goes back to there's a reason they're undrafted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even Jalen Mills, who everyone wants to kill, and he has talent, but there was so much baggage. He was even drafted. You know what I mean? Like, Josh Adams, there was supposedly no baggage to him. You know, Corey Clement, there was no baggage to him other than, Corey Clement was hurt, and Josh Adams, you just didn't know what you were going to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a reason why they're undrafted, and there's a reason why, do undrafted players make it? Yes, absolutely, every year. Do they have huge impacts usually? Not usually.
Not usually.
Bird Gang says Deuce needs to really focus on Adams. In my opinion, the kid has potential to be a top-tier back in this league.
No.
No. Living the Dream says, I like Adams. I think we should at least give him a chance. We did give him a chance against the Jaguars. We've given him a chance.
Yeah.
Guys, this is not the first time he's on the freaking field. We've given him a shot. And that's not directing it at Living in the Dream or Bird Gang, but you understand what I'm saying. We can't say they don't give him a shot.
Yeah.
They gave him a shot numerous times.
He's on the roster. He's got a shot.
We gave him a shot because we have to, because he's not Pumphrey.
But, it's this is professional football.
Yes.
You're on the roster. Like, you make your own shot.
Do you know how many people don't get a shot? You know those people? They're not on a roster right now, or they're on the practice squad. They're the ones that can fit under the category of not getting a shot.
Yeah.
You know, I got into an argument earlier today with a guy on Facebook in one of the groups. Because we had ATD had that one post about Corey Clement, how when he had talked about it was like ever since he said to Howie that we don't need to get a running back, he's run for like 20-something yards on 20-something carries, something like that. I posted it everywhere, and I got an argument with one guy who was like, oh, you can't do anything with that. He needs to get more carries in order to get into a rhythm. Explain to me 2 things. Explain to me, anyone out there that wants to defend, and this goes for Adams too, for Adams Truthers too. Explain to me what either has done to warrant or earn more carries when other running backs have gotten limited carries too and have done more with those carries than said person. And 2, what makes you think that even though like he's on those limited carries, what in God's name are you seeing that shows any effectiveness in those carries? It's not like he's getting stuffed behind the line of scrimmage every single
Joe.
carry. Nice, we're right back in it.
6-point game.
Do I have to start watching this game now?
You
Yeah, we might have to. But like this one guy had said, oh, like what is he getting based on his first carry where there's no hole there and then he gets swallowed up, and I'm like, no, he's not based on that, but he's based on every other carry where there's a lane to develop, but he's not being patient enough, and then he says, oh no, that's not true. He needs more carries because there isn't any hole that has been there that he has not missed. And Ryan, you've been on the show with us mid-Chrome. You know damn well that, especially me, I have gone and watched almost every single snap of Corey Clement. There are plenty of holes he misses.
Oh, you don't even have to go back and watch tape to figure that out.
Like the fact that every carry he shows no patience and continuously just runs into his own lineman. He freaking fumbled 2 weeks ago because he ran into his own lineman. Don't give me anything. So my point is, real quick, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
My point is, I don't want to hear the fact that, you need to give him more carries. You need to give this person more carries. They've got to earn it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you're an undrafted free agent,
NFL.
you're not, I'm sorry, this is the way it is. You're not a first-round pick that has earned anything. A first-round pick like a Gurley or a Melvin Gordon, they get those opportunities because they've earned it in college, and that warrants them being a high selection. There is a reason why you are undrafted. And if you are undrafted, you have to earn the right to get more carries. That means with limited amount of carries, you have to make the most of them. You do not get the privilege of getting those carries automatically just based on good faith. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like you're not going to get carries just because, oh, we believe in you. So yeah, go ahead. We'll give you 20 carries a game. No. Make something happen with 8 and then we'll go from there.
True. Art Make Peace says we need to run Adams more instead of Smallwood. And he says the stats already show Adams averages more yards per carry than Smallwood. Give Adams the ball more. Question: I'm not Mr. Stat guy, Chuck, so I'll ask you guys. Wouldn't the stats lean towards Adams because he's gotten the ball less? So wouldn't it be weighted towards, like, for example, I'll compare it to baseball, and tell me if this comparison is asinine. Flat out tell me. If a batter only bats 4 times and
I get what you're saying.
hits a home run 2 of them, his average is going to be really good because half of it, you understand what I'm saying?
Because he's not getting a chance to regress to the mean.
Yes. So my point is, since Smallwood has gotten the ball more, played more games, been eligible for the roster more games also, his stats are going to be more spread out, and it's going to be less in spots and more in spots, as opposed to Adams, who has really only been a difference maker in one game, this most recent one, hasn't really gotten a whole lot of attention in any other games, unless I'm wrong on that. Has he gotten any other bulk carries? I mean, he's been in there for a couple plays here and there.
He had a handful of carries against the Colts, which he looked okay.
Yeah,
but
that's it. Your stats are going to be weighted towards, okay, one really good game is going to be more meaningful because you only have 2 games under your belt.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. When Adams is in there, the defense knows it's going to be a run most likely. Chances are he's not a receiving threat. You're not going to have him flare out more often than not as a receiver and throw him a pass.
Really?
He's also not going to.
Back to 13.
Josh Adams is also not going to stick back there and help out on pass protection. So if Adams is in there, another big problem is that's a huge key that the play is going to be a run.
And then he has something for you. He says, you obviously haven't watched all the replays, bro. Yes, Adams made mistakes, but Smallwood has made more. So less carries, and he's ran more. I'm just reading the prompter.
We're just going to leave that.
We're just going to leave that.
Hey, TTP, how are you, buddy?
What
he
up,
says,
Ballin'?
I get home to watch the last 3 minutes of the Sixers down by 4. I'm hyped thinking we can come back in the last 3 minutes.
And then
I was wrong.
Yeah.
And he puts them all in separate
we were all
messages.
Tough one right now. Tough start.
He offers a clarification. Art, make peace, and then we'll move on. He says, my point has been he needs more carries to give him the chance to prove himself. We see over and over again Smallwood getting stopped for short. Yeah, but we also see Smallwood being the only difference maker out of the running backs this year. That is factual.
There have been,
but again, it comes back to the bigger issue at
yes,
hand.
Thank you, Greg.
You have to address the running back position.
Yes.
Total.
Yes.
Period. Over and out.
People in the fan base are asking Smallwood, Adams, and even Clement, who I think is going to be good, they're asking them to be superstars. It's okay if they're complementary pieces. That's fine.
Can I remind people that there have been runs where Adams has gotten stuff for a loss of yards?
No.
A big.
Not him.
Greg,
No,
I'm telling
not
you.
Josh Adams.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you.
Not
as
Josh
big
Adams.
It's
as
another
big of a
Adams.
surprise.
I
As
know
big
he's
as a surprise
I know
as
he's
it
from
is.
Notre Dame. He doesn't have that Jesus power all the time.
Let me tell you. Let me break the news to you now. Because
You know what it really is? You know what it really is? It's another local kid
Yes, thank you.
that just everyone wants to fall in love with.
Thank you.
And dude, I want to give the kid as many chances as he can get.
Yeah.
But
he deserves it.
if he didn't do enough in preseason to make the active roster, and he doesn't do enough in practice to show flashes that he can run more of the offense than, as you say, come in just for running plays, then what more chances do you want?
Yeah.
This is the last
This
thing.
is the NFL. It isn't like I'm playing rec football
Yeah.
where everyone gets to play. You know what I mean? I'm not playing baseball and I gotta with 10-year-olds and I gotta equal out my playing time. No, the best guys are gonna play.
This is the last thing I'll say on this Adams thing, okay? And people can disagree.
They're starting to make me hate Josh Adams.
Well, this is
know.
what I said. I said this an hour ago. I know.
It's annoying. It's annoying.
This is my point, okay? And if people want to try and act like this isn't true, that's fine. You can live in a fantasy land. This running back core, not just Adams, Clement and Smallwood included, they have gotten more chances than 95% of the NFL. Look at every team. You do not have situations in every single team or even every other team where you have 4 or 5 running backs playing for you. Through the first 8 games, we're only through 8 games, we've had 4 or 5 running backs. 5. Ajayi, Smallwood, Clement, Adams, Sproles. That's 5. It's usually a lot if people play 3 running backs. Most of them have 2 or 1. And with 1 usually getting a bulk of the carries. We've had 5 running backs play in 8 weeks. Just think about that now. Before you try and tell me no one's gotten a shot, no one's gotten a chance, more carries.
Don't give me that. He's the answer. Adams is the answer. These people that are saying that are probably the same people that months ago were saying that Clement is the answer, and now Clement hasn't done anything, and they're moving on to the next flavor of the month. Sorry, guys, you can't. Again, it goes back. It's a similar argument to the JP and Big V thing. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. There is a reason why certain people are not starting over others. And just because a starter is struggling does not mean that that bench guy is going to outplay him.
I'll touch on Dion's comment and then we'll move on. Dion says Brian Westbrook's rookie outing wasn't pretty at all. I'm not in no way comparing 2 totally different types of backs. B. West fumbled on his very first carry in a real game, and look how that turned out. Give the kid time. B. West couldn't block for anything in his first 3 years. Dude needs more touches, swing passes out of the backfield, etc. And Dion, that's fair. Listen, us 3 here aren't saying the kid sucks. We're just saying let's just give it time before we call him a savior. That's our only point.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know that if there's anyone that is familiar with Westbrook's game and career, it's me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Westbrook
he just went 6 to midnight here in Westbrook's name.
So Westbrook didn't do anything his rookie year. It's true.
Grab that jersey.
Yeah, it's true. Westbrook didn't do anything his rookie year. Correct. It's Josh Adams' rookie year. I keep saying Adams needs time before he can develop into a complementary back. Now, again, going into his second year, Brian Westbrook, he started making plays. But was he a full-time back? No. He was splitting time with Deuce Staley and Correll Buckhalter. And what was he doing with those limited carries? He was making the most of them and making plays on limited carries. That is the point. I don't care if you do not have 20 carries a game. If you're that special, you make plays, make the most out of those limited carries, and that's when you earn more touches. That's what Brian Westbrook did. He went from a rookie drafted in the 3rd round who barely contributed.
Was drafted.
Not
an undrafted free agent.
And he was drafted.
Picked off the scrap heap.
He was drafted. Second year, he came in, made huge plays, arguably turned that whole season around with that punt return. And then from then on, the next year, he was the guy. So I'm not, again, like you, I'm not saying Adams doesn't have potential.
Yeah.
I'm saying right now in his rookie year, it's not the time, guys. And you have to pump the brakes because no matter what you see in them, the fact is right now they're unproven. They are absolutely unproven.
Do you want to move on to No Huddle?
Yeah, I got a question. I got a question real quick for you both.
Yeah.
Give me one guy, traded or not, realistically, that either instead of Golden Tate or in addition to Golden Tate that you would have liked to have seen.
There were a few, but
That's a fantastic
one
question.
guy.
Yeah, just like one like realistic trade. Like obviously Le'Veon, but he didn't sign, so obviously it's an unrealistic trade. David Johnson, do we know he was truly available? You know what I mean? And again, if we don't know he's available or not, like for example, I'm gonna go Isaiah Crowell.
Okay.
For a guy that who knows if he was available or not, but a guy that I think could have been available because the Jets are a dumpster fire, and I think the Jets take a 5th round for Crowell. And I think, again, going back to, and this could have been in addition to, this could have been instead of, I just think, again, going back to, what Gurley does and what Le'Veon or James Conner, you know what I mean? Like what a running back does for an offense. I'll go Isaiah Crowell.
There's 2 for me.
Go.
Okay. And I'll just say the first name I'll bring up, I think it happens if Josh Adams doesn't have a very good game. I'm extremely confident in that. LeGarrette. I think if Josh Adams doesn't have a good game on Sunday, I think we trade for LeGarrette. Because, like, in their opinion, it's like, oh, here's our power runner.
Right, yeah.
So if Josh Adams doesn't do that, I think LeGarrette's here. Kind of outside the box, somebody I never mentioned, and you could say this isn't realistic. I would have liked Dion Lewis. I would have liked it.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Dion Lewis.
and especially that offense in Tennessee is going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dion Lewis.
I think that's somebody no one mentioned because he was just traded there.
Right.
That's
Fine.
somebody that I would really because then you can do away with Sproles.
Right.
That was a great name. That was a great
I
name.
saved some for this time of the day.
Dion Lewis. I love Dion Lewis. I like that name. The other name I was gonna go with is I don't know if you brought it up first, but when the whole trade rumors started, Tevin Coleman.
Oh, I love him.
Jumped to the top of my list. Just burner would be a starter on almost any other team that that's out there, and he is absolutely a phenomenal zone runner and would be a great fit in this offense. I would have given up a lot for Tevin Coleman.
First off, yes, we talked about that a handful of weeks ago. The only reason why I did not mention him because I think he's way off the table, even if they're not going anywhere. I'm very confident that he is our guy in free agency next year. I think that's somebody we do sign, which is against historically, it's against what the Eagles do because they don't invest really anything in running backs in free agency. They really don't do that. I think Tevin Coleman's one of those guys to where he's under the radar because he's been playing behind Freeman.
Yeah.
They really haven't. I mean, he was overshadowed by Ito Smith. He was a rookie in Atlanta. So I think he fits that mold of you don't have to pay crazy money for him. And he's a perfect step down from a Le'Veon who everyone's going to be chasing.
Oh, yeah.
So I honestly think, number one, he was my number one option for all running backs. That was somewhat realistic at any point.
Yeah.
But at this point in the game, with the way the Falcons are, I didn't think that was a possibility.
Yeah, look, and especially since once Devontae Freeman went on IR, that's like, okay, they need Tevin Coleman for the rest of the season. So this is pretty much his audition.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the offseason, I totally agree with you. I have Tevin Coleman's name circled in terms of free agent options, targets. I want him really, really bad.
And the very first name, going all the way back to week 2, when we really thought we might need a running back here, where it's now completely off the table because he's out for the year. But the guy who fit this mold would have been perfect, Marshawn. That's who I really wanted. But he was never leaving Oakland.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Never.
And he's not really
there's
available
not
right
enough
now.
Skittles in the world in Philadelphia.
No.
Yeah.
But can you imagine, though?
Been funny. He's one of my favorite players. Just
he's great.
From a human being standpoint.
Oh, he's
It's
great.
just like,
He's great.
Dude, if you got like 12 minutes, go watch that video of him. Over in Ireland, handing out a new flavor of Skittles.
Are you serious?
My God.
To a retirement community.
Yes.
Oh, it's the greatest it's the greatest short video ever.
Cheap plug for Conan O'Brien as well. The best thing I've ever
The
seen.
Mortal Kombat with Gronk.
Have you ever seen
That
that?
was the greatest. I watched that several times
It's
because it was one of the greatest
It's
videos
top 10 video on the internet.
ever.
Of the guys traded though, Dante Fowler was a guy that you're like, oh, he was available.
No,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once that happened, you're like, oh crap,
the
he
heck?
was available.
Because I didn't. I'm like, well, first off, I was like, the Jaguars are selling right now?
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, there's 2. Well, here's the other thing, too. The Packers, who I thought would be buyers.
Right.
I was talking to you, Chucks, numerous times.
Did they really sell?
In a way, I guess you can say
In
they
the
didn't.
now grand
You know
scheme
what
of
I mean?
things, yes, but future, no.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
But
Like
I consider them selling because you have Aaron Rodgers.
right.
I had them as a dark horse to try and trade for Le'Veon. I said, imagine if they actually get Le'Veon.
Yeah.
It's Aaron Rodgers, Le'Veon, and Jimmy Graham. And obviously Adams.
Devontae Adams.
So they came out as sellers, which do I think, do they really think they can't compete with the Bears?
Yeah.
Because the Vikings aren't very good. They're okay.
I
Vikings are
wonder if
Well, record-wise, it says
they
otherwise.
were sellers in that sense. I wonder if they're really trying to get Josh Jackson onto the field, because he's been someone who, because their rookie Jair, I always mispronounce his name, Jair Alexander, had one of the best games of a corner in a while against the Rams. He absolutely balled out, and he was my top ranked corner. So, like, I'm constantly watching this guy, and he came back from injury, balled out. But their other corner that they drafted in Joshua Jackson, he didn't really see the field. So that's telling me they don't really see him as they might not see him as a corner, because he really doesn't have that speed or man cover ability to play corner.
True.
With Clinton Dix being shipped out, I wonder if they're going to try to transition him to safety, and that's why they felt that Clinton Dix was expendable.
Chucks, what do you have for your no huddle?
No huddle.
By the way, Todd Womack says Philly Dilly, guys. What's going on,
Philly
Todd?
Dilly. What up,
Philly Dilly.
They're talking Sixers in here, which I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
get to in one of these.
Yeah. Okay, so first, speaking of trades, one of the constant trade targets that was constantly being rumored was Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun said that he wanted to be traded because we all know his chemistry with Jameis Winston is practically non-existent. Now with Fitz there, I guess it's a better fit. He's happier, but he still wanted out of Tampa Bay.
Like the Instagram post and everything.
Yeah, but the Buccaneers, I'm kind of very mad at them, because their excuse for not trading him was that they are in win now mode.
You're not win now mode. You're in
Fitzpatrick.
dumpster fire
Dear, oh my God! First of all, like, a small part of this, I'll leave it with this. A small part of this was because I really wanted Deshaun Jackson to get traded, if not to us, to any team that needed a deep threat or wide receiver.
Except for the Patriots.
Except for the Patriots.
That was
Because
close.
that
It
would have
almost
been
happened.
yeah.
It almost happened.
Because I really feel like Deshaun being there is hampering and limiting the opportunities for Chris Godwin, who I think is
he's on my fantasy team.
absolutely a stud. I think he's a better wide receiver than Deshaun Jackson.
Speaking of fancy, how'd that hold?
Yeah.
It wasn't a good night. It was not a good night.
I really wanted Deshaun out of there so Chris Godwin would get more opportunities, but that didn't happen. But Tampa, you went after Ryan Fitzpatrick had a good start to the season, and then he struggled that one game. You decided to go back to Jameis Winston, even though I was on here. I don't know, I forget if you agreed with me or not. I was adamantly against. I was like, don't go back to Jameis. After everything he's done, and he hasn't proven a damn thing, you don't go back to Jameis. You ride Ryan Fitzpatrick out because that team loves him. Deshaun Jackson loves him. So you're keeping Deshaun Jackson, but then you go back and you went back to Jameis, and he has a typical Jameis Winston game. And now you go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you have the audacity to say, "Oh no, we're trying to win now." Like,
You can't
shut
win that
up!
division.
You can't win now if you keep flip flopping starters like that. Like, I'm getting really fed up because they are wasting talent on that team. There's no reason why those quarterbacks should be struggling. Jameis Winston, you have no excuse. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, and Peyton Barber, who's a decent starting running back, and a rookie running back in Ronald Jones. They can't get it done? Like, that's absolutely unacceptable. So I don't want to hear that they're trying to win now when they went back to Winston and then bailed on Winston again to go back to Fitzpatrick. And when it's one or the other. It's a lack of direction, and it's them not knowing exactly, being aware of what their situation is.
They are in the same category as the Detroit Lions when you talk about identity crisis. Greg and I talked in the break. We were saying that, the Detroit Lions, they're really hurting themselves long term because it's not like they suck. They don't suck. They always finish in either 7-9,
Yeah.
8-8, or 9-7, which equates to them getting mid-round picks, which they never have the judgment call to go out and actually make the right decisions for. And it's just like these teams that are stuck in almost purgatory. It's like, okay, we know we can't win a Super Bowl, but we also know we could maybe. It's like they're the Philadelphia Flyers of the NFL.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay,
Let's just get
we're gonna hang
it's
around.
Like the Sixers before Hinkie.
Yeah, and that's the worst situation to be in.
Be a doormat.
So I completely agree with you, Chucks. Mine, sticking with the NFL. Well, I have two. I'll start with one, and it's an announcement, and it's people are gonna disagree with it. The New York Giants, in my opinion, are more of a dumpster fire than any of the Cleveland Browns teams the last handful of years. Because tell me I'm wrong. Because what did all of those Cleveland Browns teams have in common other than the fact that they were indeed dumpster fires? They had no what?
Talent.
Correct. You can't say that about the Giants.
No.
At all.
Also,
what was the other argument? The Cleveland Browns division was unwinnable because you had the Steelers.
Or the Ravens.
Or even the Bengals, who would go really good in the I think they started 9-1 like 3 seasons ago and then didn't do anything in the playoffs, but still those 3 teams very good, or at least good. They're always around. You can't say that about the NFC East the last handful of years. I understand a Super Bowl champion came out of them, but
you're right, except for last year, that was a very winnable conference every year.
Yes. So
this year included.
You have Odell Beckham, who's a top 3 to top 5 wide receiver in this league.
I've come to the conclusion there are 5 guys that vie for that top spot at wide receiver.
Go ahead.
And at any given day, you can make an argument for any of them.
Can I guess?
I'm sure you know them.
Yeah, it's DeAndre.
It's OBJ,
yeah,
DeAndre, Julio, AB, and Adam Thielen.
Yes.
I have a guy that I would throw into that conversation.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't. You guys picking them over this guy is totally understandable.
Mike,
but to me, he has to be in
Mike
the
Thomas.
No.
Oh.
Tyreek Hill. And I'll say this. I will say this. It's because his speed is absolutely unrivaled, not just out of any wide receiver, but any player in the league. When you watch him run, there's no defensive back, no defender, no wide receiver that can keep up with him. And that kind of speed is unteachable. So when you have a deep threat like him, who is literally at any point can take one to the house, he has to be in the conversation for top receiver in the league.
All right.
I think he's really developed. Now, having Patrick Mahomes helps his case. I get it. But the other wide receivers also have quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
So it's not a complete, qualifier. Tyreek Hill has earned his right to be mentioned among the top wide receivers.
True. So for the sake of time, I'll just keep it to this one.
Yeah.
The Giants have talent. They have Saquon Barkley, transcendent. They have Odell Beckham, transcendent. They have Evan Ingram, who I know has been hurt, but he's very good. He's going to be a top 5 tight end for his career. Just get used to that. Mm-hmm. You do have defensive playmakers. I understand your offensive line isn't very good, but was it really ever? No. I understand your quarterback is a statue who can't throw the ball anymore, but he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Was he anything ever?
It's a good point. He won because of his defense.
Thank you.
Still the better Manning.
Don't tell that.
Yes.
Stop. Don't tell that to Giants fans because they will
I don't
crucify
talk to
your
Giants
heads.
fans.
Still the better Manning.
Stop.
That's for another show. Yeah, we'll be going until 1 a.m.
He drives me crazy. With that stuff. Go ahead.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Good.
But
you are wrong.
But speaking of tell me I'm wrong to say the Giants with all this talent in an easier division isn't more of a dumpster fire than all of those Cleveland Browns teams. And I understand once you get to dumpster fire territory, it's kind of all the same.
Yeah.
But I think of my lifetime, this Giants team is the most embarrassing NFL team I have ever seen. And I'm not saying that because I hate them, because I do. But they are the most embarrassing team and organization I have ever seen in my life. of the 22 years I've been watching football.
You make a good case because last year was one thing. Okay, that was one thing all in itself.
You're allowed to have
years
like that. Yes.
You have injuries and all that, and your coach is a goober. I get it. It's the audacity of them going into this season still not being aware enough or having the balls to move on from Eli Manning just because he won you 2 Super Bowls ages ago. Not having the balls to move on from him and realizing that he doesn't have it anymore, and then drafting a running back instead of a quarterback that was, I could argue, 2 quarterbacks that were there to be had.
Yep, it's true.
That them choosing to do that, and then the way they're playing now is, yes, that's what makes your case. So I don't know. I'd have to go back to give a definitive answer. I'd have to go back and look again at all those Browns teams because they were disastrous.
Oh, they were.
And the moments that they have are pretty humiliating.
My boy.
The one, I think it was Thursday Night Football in Cleveland where they were lining up to kick the game-winning field goal, but then it gets blocked by the Ravens, and the Ravens take it back for a return touchdown to win the game as time expires. That's as bad as it can get. That's humiliating. So, they've had moments like that, so I'd have to see. But then again, a 62 or 63-yard field goal by Josh Gano against the Panthers to win it after last year we beat them with a 61-yarder, that's a pretty embarrassing moment too. So.
I will just say this, and then I will leave it at that. I understand, and I'm fully transparent in knowing I am literally saying this is more of a dumpster fire than the 0-16 Detroit Lions, than all of the embarrassing Raiders teams. I understand that. I looked at all of it because you can't say for any of those teams for the last 22 years they had the collective talent that this Giants team does.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
You're
That's
absolutely
all.
right. That's a good case. Did you have anything you want to touch on?
What's no huddle?
So no huddle is just
Anything and everything.
anything, everything. You just quick topics. Just
The Cleveland Browns have officially.
Speaking of,
just I don't get the firing of Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, I saw your one comment.
And let me get this clear. I understand he was 3-36-1. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to be fired, but you stuck with him after 0-16. You've played 4 overtime games this year, and you have a quarterback that you think is your guy. And all intents and purposes, he's playing like he's your guy. If you have issues with Todd Haley, you're the boss. Fire him. You're an offensive guy. It's not going to be hard for you to say, I'll pick up your play chart or I'll make my own play chart and call plays.
Yep.
If that's what the issue was the insubordination, fire him. Because you're right. You watch Hard Knocks, yes, you knew this was coming. But why 8 games into the year
do you make
that move?
That's, yeah.
Either, and to this point, what is 8 more games going to do?
Exactly. Well,
If you didn't do it after 0-16, and I thought, sadly, I thought they made the right move. I said, oh my goodness, are the Cleveland Browns about to turn the corner here as a franchise?
Yeah.
Like not make the typical 0-16 Cleveland Browns move here? Are they going to do what they should do and say, hey, if we really like this guy as a coach, we're going to overlook the record and stick with him because we think he's the guy? And they started playing well. They started playing with an identity. Their defense is one of the upper tiers in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's a start. You now have a quarterback you think is your guy. You traded your running back because you wanted to get your rookie some touches. You have a legit number 1 wide receiver in Jarvis Landry. You have an up-and-coming tight end. You have the pieces. To your point, there's talent.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden it's not enough. Like, again, he should have been fired after 0-16, after week 1 of loss. Like, this is the last one that finally, because it's the first blowout loss.
Yeah.
Their first blowout game. They didn't take a game into overtime. It's just what would 8 more games would it cost?
No, I that's definitely a good.
Because now you're gonna have Baker with an interim coach who's
defensive minded,
who's defensive,
and old school and Greg Lewis.
Greg Williams.
Okay. Didn't even know the guy's name.
Might as well be
Right.
Jeff Fisher.
Mr.
Yeah.
Bountygate, by the
Yeah,
way.
might as well be Jeff
Oh
Fisher.
my God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's Bountygate.
That's
Yeah.
Bountygate guy.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just now what? Now you're going to stunt Baker, and now you're going to be back to being the Browns.
Baker Mayfield needs support, and both of his offensive-minded guys who are in the room are now
Gone.
on a plane.
Gone.
Listen,
it
Because
doesn't
one
make sense.
guy couldn't make a decision to fire the other.
And it's like, to your point, Greg,
I don't know.
you fire him after a blowout loss, but you don't fire him after you gave up like a 30-point lead to the Raiders a handful of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is this. I knew who Todd Haley was. I knew the type of guy he was because I saw what he was like in Pittsburgh. So if they didn't
And Kansas City.
yes,
And Arizona.
so if they didn't want that environment, that's what he is. Don't
Just like Jim
hire
Schwartz.
him.
Just like Jim Schwartz.
Yes.
You want a different defense? Don't hire Jim
Go hire
Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz, yeah.
You
No,
made
it's
that
completely-
bet, so do not abandon it when your quarterback needs you the most in the middle of a season when you have 2 more wins than you have in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
that-
you went to 4 overtimes.
that's a valid. I think that is the more egregious thing. Is it's not. I get your point. I think the more egregious point was, or thing that they did was not firing Hugh Jackson. That's not it. Not even the timing, which is questionable in and of itself. It's on top of that you fire Todd Haley.
Or why
That-
don't you fire Haley first, and then if it didn't change, then fire Jackson?
Yeah.
Well-
That's usually the way it goes.
Last thing I'll say, you
Usually
know
the way it goes.
you know who the next head coach for them is going to be, right?
Who?
We should know him very well. DiFilippo. It's Tony.
You think it's gonna be
Yeah.
DiFilippo?
Absolutely. Because they're going to look and see, oh, well, he worked with Carson Wentz, who we should have had. I'm just telling you.
If
DiFilippo is going to be the
if
next
the
coach.
Packers don't make the playoffs, I think Mike McCarthy is another one
Oh,
that's.
God.
Yeah.
By the way, whoever puts Sean McVay as the leading, like,
Oh, did
why,
you see that? Did you
why
see
in the
that?
world would
happened?
Bovada
Yeah.
or somebody, Vegas, somebody,
VegasOdds.com, they had Sean McVay as the odds-on favorite.
to be the Cleveland Browns head coach next year
Why?
at plus 200, like odds on.
It's not even close. It was not even close. It was not even close. It was not even close. It wasn't even close.
Like why
The
would
next one was
anybody?
Lincoln Riley of Oklahoma,
Why-
who said 2 weeks ago he's not leaving there.
Yeah, and the only reason he's there is because that's Baker.
Yeah, exactly.
know what I mean?
Who they were fine with, but Jesus, man,
Yeah, it was Stoops more
That's
than Riley.
I was rooting for the Browns. I'm done with them now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm done with them.
I sat there
gave
and
him a
said-
shot.
I
Yeah.
sat there and said the Browns are going to win the Central just to mix it up. Not that I really
Yeah.
thought so, but
Yeah.
just you had talent.
Well,
finally.
if they had Gordon and Baker Mayfield was playing well, then would you be shocked?
You finally had talent.
I don't know. The Browns doing Browns things. That's what it comes
But why
down
would
to.
you leave LA to go to Cleveland? It's the other way around.
It is. They messed up
And-
there.
and that-
I don't have an
and
explanation.
And that
for it.
wifey ain't following you to Cleveland, bro. Sorry, man.
Nobody's
She
following
is
you to Cleveland.
she is LA
Yeah.
staying.
Listen,
Keep-
I said
keep
it with
that.
the NBA. People weren't even going to Cleveland when LeBron was there.
True. Guys, great show.
Yep.
We did talk about a lot. We didn't even talk about like the topics we want to talk about. We steered and we went to whatever. We did whatever we did. But that's how we roll. But thanks, Greg.
Yeah, man.
Thanks again. It was great. Thanks for sticking around the second half.
Yeah, it was fun.
Unexpected, but that was good. Brodo, thanks on the 1 to 2s again.
No problem.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Birds of a Feather. Tomorrow we got The Fix. Thursday we have, why can't I think of it?
Also tomorrow, there's AM and the PM.
Oh, AM in the PM. Sorry,
Shit,
I don't
shucks,
do this.
forgot.
I don't do this often, so it's like a minute. So
Thursday
AM
night.
in the PM.
Thursday night. Lazy booking.
Lazy booking.
Hockey happy hour.
Happy hour. Friday we got nothing. Saturday we got the Hooligans.
Hooligans.
And Sunday we got Agree to Disagree, our
In
flagship.
the morning.
In the morning this week.
Pre-game
Pre-game.
for
For no game.
for no game.
No green.
But we'll be going fantasy injury updates. You know, the life.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then Monday, we got, now I
The
can't.
Hounds.
The Hounds.
The
Sports
Sports
Hounds.
Hounds.
See, I don't do this often. That's why Chrome needs to come back and do it. But thank you guys again for joining us for Birds of a Feather. Our show is brought to you by StreamSmart.com. Poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. We will see you next week, guys. Myself, Chucks, Greg, Brodo. Enjoy the bye week. Fly, Eagles, fly.